Hi, Charles. How you doing?
Sense.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Welcome to the live stream.
thank you. Is he late or what's going on?
I didn't get that.
I said, is he late? ADOS, is he late?
Yeah, is a bit late, so I don't know. Maybe we can wait for him for a second, or for
Oh,
a
sure.
few minutes, or we can just go ahead and talk about other things before he joins. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I saw the comment section, right? For the last video, you seem to have quite a number of supporters, right?
yeah,
Yeah, a few of them, yeah, they mentioned their race, right? Yeah, it'll be quite interesting to hear from them. So, yeah, I think you have one right now in the chat room, the Music Compass. So,
the music compass.
right.
So if you want to call in the music compass, you can call in. Let's talk. So
Yeah, so
today's topic.
yeah, go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. Obviously, when he turns up, I'll be able to ask some questions and that because I'm not very well versed in this. So, yeah, but yeah,
Okay.
carry.
Okay. So today's topic is how pervasive is racism in America. I want to get a feedback from mostly African Americans, about their insistence that racism still persists in America. So I just want to know to what degree it persists and how much of an impact it has on the day-to-day lives of African Americans.
Right,
I
right,
don't want to it's like it was mentioned last week. It's different from when you're seeing it from an outsider perspective and when you're having the lived-in experience. So,
right.
yeah, he says, can I suggest? Yeah, Anan, go ahead, suggest something. What are you going to suggest for us? Make your suggestions. So, Vincent,
Yeah,
you are a black man in the US. Although you would not qualify as an African American, you're a Nigerian American in the US
um,
currently.
I'm not an well. I mean, I am an American, but I don't identify as an American.
You
I
don't
identify.
identify as an American.
No, I do not in any way, shape, or form. Even though despite I was born here, I was raised in the UK all my life, so I'm British Nigerian, really. But yeah, on paper, yeah, I guess I am. Yeah.
Okay. But anyone who sees you in the US would, without having interacted with you, would assume that you're African American, correct?
That's true. Yep, yep. Hmm.
So it means that their attitudes towards you might be similar to what other African Americans may face.
Right. Hmm.
Okay. So given that premise, can you walk me through your experiences in the US as a black person?
Um. Well, obviously being raised in the UK pretty much all my life and moving here, there have been differences that I've noticed, right? So, for example, I've noticed that here, you know, it's more race conscious, right? I have been pulled over, a couple times, by the cops. I have noticed their demeanor towards me was a little bit iffy, if I'm gonna be honest. But I guess when they heard me talk, they kind of calmed down. So I did kind of get the impression if I was an American, right, raised here culturally, it might have gone a different way. But um, yeah, I've kind of noticed that sort of demeanor from them. I have seen a number of people, well, women with children, right? They do seem a bit wary of me because of my stature. Um, I've yeah experienced that. But if, in terms of like hardcore discrimination, no, I have not. But I know my younger brother has. He was called the N word to his face last year in a Walmart. So other than that, that's really the only form of yeah.
Okay,
Version.
so you have experienced subtle um, how will I put it, subtle racism, where people are more wary of you.
Right.
And when you say people, you mean white people.
Well, yeah, it has been from them as well, and it's also I've also experienced it with Asians as well. So it's not even them. But yeah, if we're going to talk about whites, then yes, I have, yeah.
So both white people and Asian people have given off those kinds of vibes to you, where they feel more threatened by your presence. Is that what you're
Pretty
saying?
much, yeah. Yeah, I have, yeah. And I've also experienced it as well in the UK, but yeah, here in the US, yes, I have, yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I'm 6'2", well, 6'3" in shoes, so yeah, my I'm kind of I don't know which guy I can use this that look that I resemble closely. Yeah, I'll have to bring up a popular celebrity for you to understand my stature, but yeah.
Okay. So although it shouldn't really matter how big someone is for them to be scary, but do you think that your size had anything to do with the way they acted towards you?
I don't know. I'm just honestly, I don't know what goes through the minds of them. You know, it's whatever they assume. To them, I guess I appear intimidating. Um,
Okay.
I have this happened to me as well. Even at my university that I attend here.
Mm.
Um, I've sat next to this white girl once, and even a couple others. They just seem a little bit kind of shaking in their boots, just a little bit, wary. I don't know, maybe they assume that I'm gonna steal from them or something like that. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's just I guess it's a vibe that they just don't like. I don't know, but I just keep to myself for the most part.
Okay.
So
So aside these attitudes you've noticed, have you ever been discriminated against?
when you mean discriminate, do you mean explicit, like outright?
Yes, explicit, yeah, explicit discrimination.
No, but I've had ignorant comments said, obviously me being of Nigerian heritage, right? They'll say Africa as if it's one big country, not realizing that it's 54 different countries, right? Um, they might say an ignorant comment here or there. For example, are there cars there, or is there running water? You know, things of that nature. But yeah,
And these kinds of ignorant comments, who do you get them from? From black people, white people, or are there a specific group of people you get these
I've
kinds of
got from
comments?
all races. This is all races. People that their assumptions about Nigeria or just Africa in general. But yeah, I see someone in the comment section said Vincent, Jews suffer from a lot of hatred and bigotry, but Jews succeed anyway. Others will always be jealous of us. Were those racist against you able to impede your success? Um, I don't know what Jews have to do with it. And second, were those no, no one is impeding on my success. No, I just keep my head down. You know, I'm currently in the moment I'm in college trying to get my degree and just moving forward and just yeah, just keeping to the rules and yeah, generally just minding my own business. But no, no one's impeding on my success now, if that's the
Oh,
question.
great. Ados says he'll be up in a few minutes. Good. So we're going to have a more robust discussion when Ados
Sure.
comes in. So
Sounds good.
that's great. Yeah. So let's still go on. So your brother, he was called the N word to his face.
Right,
Can
he
you
was.
describe what led up to that? Was there an altercation? What led up to that exchange?
Okay, so well, when he told us the story, right? He goes to college in this it's a very redneck area of Florida that way, and um he went to the Walmart, and so I don't know if you know Walmart's like it's a big gigantic um oh sorry, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Oh,
can
okay,
hear you.
yeah,
Go
yeah, yeah.
ahead.
I said, yeah, Walmart is this shopping center, right, where you go for groceries and that sort. Anyway, he was there, right, and I think he was looking for something, and according to him, right, this I think he must have asked him a question. So the Walmart attendant, he was an old white man, and he obviously I'm not going to say the word, right? He said, you N words just can never figure things out in life, can you guys? So
Wow.
yeah, he got his camera out. He didn't post it, but online, but he said to him, "Can you say that again?" Obviously the man was, he knew what he had said and what he did wrong. So yeah, that's pretty much what took place. Obviously, it took my brother by surprise. But yeah,
That was really extreme.
I think ADOS is online.
Yeah,
Hello to
yeah.
ADOS.
Ados, welcome. Ados, are you with us?
I think
Okay,
they're
so
using.
he'll
Oh, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, we
yeah,
can hear
yeah.
you.
How you
Okay,
doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, we can
Oh,
hear you.
great.
Okay.
All right.
Well, welcome to the live stream.
Absolutely. Nigeria in the house, right?
Yeah,
All
yeah. Two Nigerian brothers and an Ados again.
right.
So,
Let's do it.
so today's topic is how pervasive is racism in America.
Hey, hey, hang on.
And let me.
Hang on. I hear some scratching in the background from somebody. Like some. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, can you still hear it?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So today's topic, how pervasive is racism in America? And before you came in, I was asking Vincent about his experiences as a black person in America, even though he doesn't identify as an African American, but just by looking at him without any interaction, one might say he's an African American. So, um, therefore, means that he may have some experiences that other African Americans go through in America. And he highlighted that he has had some experiences with racist behavior or attitudes where people are more wary of him, or in the case of his brother, where someone called him the N word in in the supermarket, something like that. So it does suggest to me that yes, that racism is well and alive in America. But I just want to understand what extent it exists today, and how pernicious it is. How much of problem is it for African Americans in America? So, but before we go ahead, I'd like us to I'd like to get your definition of racism so that we know we're on the same page, so that we don't talk about racism while we're meaning other things. So, Ados, why don't you give us your definition of racism?
Yeah. My definition is going to be different. A lot of people get racism wrong in America. A lot of black people, matter of fact, the vast majority of black people in America and white people don't understand racism. If you talk about racism in America, I'm talking about just America. I'm not talking about racism what Hitler did to the Jews. That's a different type of racism, right? America racism is different because the white people never tried to genocide us. They tried to genocide the native Indians like Hitler did the Jews, but the white man never ever tried that against us black people. Never. Like you would never ever see that. Them just straight out genociding us. They did it to the natives. So racism in America is what Abraham Lincoln described it. He described it as white supremacy. And white supremacy, Abraham Lincoln said, was the white man should always be on top socially and the black man on the bottom socially. So that's what racism is. Racism in American style is not hate, right? Like Hitler hated the Jews, right? The whites hated the native Indians to the point they, as you know, genocided them. So that's the big mixed understanding that I hear from almost all black people and all white people in America. Because Abraham Lincoln in 1860 said, it's white supremacy. It's not hate. We don't hate black people. Like not even the KKK. The KKK, they don't hate black people. And that's shocking to a lot of people. People are like, what do you mean the KKK does not hate black people? They used to lynch black people. Yes, white supremacy. The only time whites and the KKK and white mobs would lynch people is when they try to when they feel blacks are trying to up them, trying to be they used to call us uppity Negroes, right? Like, you're better than us. White people hate that to this very day. Not all, but a lot of white people still hate the fact that blacks are starting to get someplace. And so they'll do things to try to bring us down. So, and to finish it, you can find KKK pictures to prove my point online, KKK pictures of the KKK handing out presents to black people. I mean, and the black kids. And there's just one picture of the KKK with the white hoods on, and they got a very old black couple. One was like 106, and his wife was like 103, and they're gifting them presents in the 1940s. They're like literally gifted them Christmas presents. So if they truly hated black people, they would not be gifting them presents. What white people hate about ADOS is, when we look at them like, no, 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 you're not better than us, white man. You're equal to us. If not, and if anything, we're better than you. Oh, that is what racism is, white supremacy. Go ahead.
Okay. So you define racism as white supremacy. Can
Yeah.
you explain more what you mean by white supremacy?
Yeah. What Abraham Lincoln said. As long as the white Abraham Lincoln said this is white supremacy. And Abraham Lincoln, which is considered the greatest president in American history, says that he believes in white supremacy. This was Abraham Lincoln. He says, I believe in white supremacy. And he said exactly what it was, where the white people as a whole, not in the, and that's another thing, white people try to say, well, we're individuals, and people say, well, that black man was racist towards me. No, no, no. Racism is a group thing. And it was created by white people in 1661, right? To divide the whites and blacks, to put whites on top. And that's what Abraham Lincoln said 200 years later, in 1860, that white supremacy is white people as a group on top, not individuals, because you're always going to find poor individuals. In 1860, when Abraham Lincoln said white supremacy should rule, there was poor whites in the South that was poorer than some blacks, right? So he said, no, as a group, white people will always be on top, and as a group, black people will always be on bottom. That's why we can look at LeBron James and Kanye West and black billionaires and still say white supremacy rules. And people will say, like, what do you mean white supremacy rules? You just said LeBron James is a billionaire. Kanye West is worth $6 billion. The athletes in NBA and NFL are living like superstars, which is true. Like, so how the hell can you say white supremacy is ruling when you got billionaire blacks? Easy, because as a group, white people are far ahead of blacks. It's not even close. Go ahead.
Okay, so white people are far ahead of blacks. That is true. That is
As
a
a group,
given.
as a
As a
group.
group,
Remember, it's
as
never
a group.
individuals. It's a group. So don't pull out
Okay,
individuals, because Abraham Lincoln said it's a group, not individuals. Okay, go ahead.
I understand that. So in today's America, how is um how is white supremacy being perpetrated?
Oh, once again, they did a tabulation, and they said if you take, ADOS, if you take away the cars and the couches and the jewelry, and compare just the wealth of ADOS black families to white people, we have about a penny for every dollar they have. That's white supremacy. That we today, if you take away all the goodies like the cars and the jewelry and just focus on wealth, like home wealth and investments and bank accounts and checking accounts and all that other good stuff, if you do that, for a fact, blacks have about a penny for every dollar whites have. And if you want to add in the cards and the jewelry and clothing, blacks still, and you can look this up, we're worth about 4 to 5 pennies for every dollar whites have. When you add everything, that's everything. 4 to 5 pennies, 4 or 5 cents to every dollar whites have. That's white supremacy. White supremacy is even more entrenched today than it was during slavery. Go ahead.
So, where do you
Okay.
get all your stats from then exactly?
I didn't hear you. What was that?
Oh, sorry, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I was just reading the comment, the music compass, so I wasn't listening. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I said, where do you get your stats from?
Oh, you can just Google it. You can just Google blacks are worth 5 pennies to every dollar whites have. Just Google it. It's on CNN. It's everywhere. This is something that's freely known. So just you can Google it right now. It's like blacks worth 4 or 5 pennies to every dollar whites have. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's common knowledge in this circle of people who do these type of numbers. Yeah. That's white supremacy. And the reason why I said white supremacy is even stronger than in slavery, because when slavery ended, blacks were worth a penny for every, they was like saying like, um, the wealth of blacks was like if blacks had a penny, whites had like 20 cents, something like that. But now if blacks have a penny, whites have $1. So actually through Jim Crow, whites have increased the white supremacy at even larger margins than during slavery. But go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you is that you're you're saying that the disparity is due to racism, the disparity is due to white supremacy. Is that correct?
Yeah, 350 years of slavery and Jim Crow. Yeah, that's exact. Because what, as I told you last time, this is what white people did. For 350 years, they gobbled up almost all the power, almost all the wealth, almost all the resources. Notice I said almost, right? And so by this gathering of almost all the wealth, resources, and all that other shit, by the time Jim Crow ended, they had everything. So there was no need to keep furthering Jim Crow on us because white people had obtained everything. Like we got there's nothing more that we can do to these blacks anymore. We've got it all. We've got almost all the power, almost all the resources, almost all the money. So it's like, okay, let's say, and then this is why people said, okay, we're gonna give you civil rights. We're even. We're even now. Like we're under the same law. Well, Lyndon B. Johnson, who was the president during the civil rights, said to white people. He said it to white America. You can Google Lyndon B. Johnson. He said it at a black college during a commencement speech. He said, it is hypocritical and ridiculous for white people to sit here and say that, okay, now let's start off even. When white people will have degraded black people for 350 years and robbed them of everything, their kids, their homes, their money. And he goes, you can't sit here and say, okay, let's all start off colorblind. Let's be equal now. He goes, no, they're 350 years behind. This is a white president who said this while he was president in America. Even he understood, and he used to call black people nigger. So he was racist, but even he admitted, like, yeah, it is wrong, deeply wrong, for white America to say, okay, now let's go at it together and see who wins. When white people had 350 years of advantage through Jim Crow and slavery. Go ahead.
Okay, so this question for you, I just want to extend your logic. You said that the disparity is as a result of white supremacy and racism. So how do you explain the Asian success? How do you explain how Asians are earning greater than whites, Asians as a group? How do you explain them their mean income being higher than that of whites? Is it also due to Asian supremacy? How do you explain that?
Um, the first statement you said was wrong. The second statement was correct. The first statement you said that Asians have more wealth than whites. That is completely categorically wrong. And I've heard Cynthia G say it too. And other people saying, oh, Asians have more wealth than white people. Bullshit. It's a fact that white people own 90% of all the wealth in America. And the rest of the 10% is divided between ADOS, Asians, Latinos, black immigrants, and everybody else.
Yeah, go ahead. Hello, black skin.
Absolutely categorically false. Go ahead.
Okay, now, of course, in terms of absolute wealth, white people have more wealth in America because of the sheer numbers. They are at least the majority in terms of numbers. But we're not just looking at absolute numbers, we're also looking at the average of what each household earns. And we see that
Okay,
Asians,
no, but that's different though. That's different from saying you said Chinese people had more wealth than whites. That is categorically wrong. That's all I'm saying. That you're wrong with that.
you
That's a
understand,
erroneous statement. Go ahead.
okay, you understand what I mean when I said that. What I meant was that on the average, if you want to look at the mean income of households, then the Asians, they're outperforming the whites. So why is that the case? Because if you want to look at blacks too, if you want to look at the mean income of black households is less than that of whites, is less than that of Asians. So that has to count for something. And if I understand your reasoning, it's also as a result of white supremacy. So what accounts for the Asian success in terms of having the mean household income of the Asians being higher than that of whites? Is it also as a result of Asian supremacy?
Here's the thing. I heard Glenn, that's a Glenn Lurie argument, and John McWhorter say the same thing. Like, well, what about the Asians? The Asians have more median wealth than white people. Well, you have to remember 95% of, if not 99%, 95, 99%, one of those two of all Asians came after Jim Crow. So these people came from the mainland of China, Japan, Korea with wealth. Like there's something called the the visa. There's a visa program. To prove my point, there's a visa program in America. You can look it up, where Chinese people and Indian people from India, you can come here to America like immediately if you say to the American government, I'm going to invest $500,000 immediately into the American economy. You can come in immediately. Do you know right now there's a waiting list of over 30,000 Asians, right? So there's a large portion of Asians that come to America rich to the point that they're investing
I think his mic went out.
million dollars as soon as they get here. They're rich. So when people, yeah, so when people talk about the median income, you gotta think about what Asians. I'm talking about Japanese people from India, Korea. 99 to 95.
ADOS, your mic went out.
Okay.
Is it just
Before
uh
before it comes back in, Vincent, do you agree with his definition of racism?
well, from what he said, right, it's mostly economic, right? It was just how blacks in America have been economically suppressed. Um, yeah, I'll kind of say yes and no, but I still want to continue listening to his whole reasoning behind the whole thing.
So how would you define racism?
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. Oh, he's back. Oh, do you still want me to?
No, 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 no. Go ahead. He's talking to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, how I would define racism: prejudice, discrimination, antagonism, yeah, against someone, but in their particular racial or ethnic group. So, yeah, marginalizing a certain group. So that's my definition.
Okay. Black skin, or ADOS, you do realize that there's never a time in history where groups ever start out the same way. But before I go there, let me continue with let's go back to the Asian problem. Yes, but that program, I think, is the HB1 visa program or so. It's not unique to Asians. It's open to almost anybody from any part of the world with wealth that can come in. But I still tell you that it's not a majority of Asians that are coming in through that program. So even if there are some amount of Asians that are coming in through that program with wealth, it doesn't still explain how, on the average, um, the Asians on the average in their household are higher than earning higher than the whites. There are other things they're doing. There are wealth that is being created there in America by Asians. But that aside, let's go to my second point. It has never
No,
been the
hang on.
case
Let
in
me answer that
history.
one. No, 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 hang on, hang on. Let me answer that real quick. No, it does make a difference because there is a large. Okay, the number is so large of Asians coming through that way that white people, white conservatives, have been crying to the government to stop the program for about a decade. Right? If you watch Tucker Carlton, right, he hates that program because he says they're bringing in these elite Asians to take over white jobs. So it's happened at a rate that white people are upset, and all you got to do is Google Tucker Carlton HB visa program, right? He's upset about that, and lots of white people are because these Asians are coming in with money, with that high education because they have that money, and they're taking over many white jobs. So no, it is making a difference. Plus, when you bring in rich Asians from China and India and all those those other places, right? It brings up the medium wealth. You see what I'm saying? So they're
Wait,
not
hold on.
starting like black people from like ADOS. They're not starting like ADOS. We come from slavery and Jim Crow. No, they're coming from their countries, and there's enough people coming to make their numbers higher. You
Wait,
see what I'm
hold on.
saying? Go
So
ahead.
So
AJ,
what percentage of 1% of people from Asia come with that wealth, come with that processes? What
That I
percentage?
don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but I watch white conservative channels, and for the last decade, and especially for the last couple of years, they are pissed that the American government is allowing these agents to come in and take over because they say they're scheming the system by bringing in all this money, right? And that is skewing the medium wealth of these Asians, both the Indian and the Chinese. It's not like they're here making that kind of money here. Like we're starting from scratch. No, they're already coming here. Lots of them starting with something, and many of them are starting with millions of dollars. So that millions of dollars, when you're bringing that many people, it's going to skew the median wealth rate of both the Chinese and the Indian. So that's why their median wealth is so high. Is because they're coming with all this money. Is they're not starting from scratch like ADOS did. Uh,
well,
um, they are starting with money already. Go ahead.
hold on. ADOS, right? You said right, Asians are coming into the US and taking over white jobs, right? When you say
Absolutely.
when you say white jobs, can you specify what type of jobs? So what type of industry are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the IT, technology field.
So that
Asians are
along
killing it in
just
the technology field. Go ahead. Go ahead.
wait. So you're saying wait. So that exclusively belongs to white people? Is that what you're trying to insinuate?
No, not exclusively, but almost exclusively. Like they did a survey, not a survey, but they did a study. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they all did it, and they said like they only have like 2 to 3% of black people in IT. And when they say
But,
black, that means biracial, Nigerian, ADOS, everybody. They say like these big terms, these big IT firms have
mhm.
minuscule amounts of blacks. So yeah, that's why I say white because so few blacks are in it. It's only
Would
affected the white people. Go ahead.
okay, but would you not say that maybe it's because there's not enough qualified individuals in the US to find for those positions, so they have to go abroad, right, to find these
Uh,
individuals?
white. Okay, I'm going to give you the white man point of view because I love to watch white conservatives, right? Because I love to debate them, right? Very few will debate me on these matters. Once they watch my videos, they say, "Nah, I'm not going to debate you," because I know all their talking points. So you have to watch these people, right? And they say Tucker Carlson said, "No, there's more than enough white Americans to fill all these jobs." He said, "This is what's going on. These big tech firms are hiring these Asian people because they hire them cheap." Like, and he gave, and they actually have numbers there. He was saying like if you had this certain job, I forget what it was, but just say if a white man or white woman would make 160,000 per year on that job, they said they can hire the same people like Asian or Indian and work that same job for 80,000, half the rate. Here's a point. I'll prove it to you. Now, this happened in reality, and I got this from Tucker Carlson too. He said Disney did this a few years ago, and you can Google it, where they brought in these Indian high tech people and made the white people in Disney, right? This is Disney, train the Indian people to do their job at half the rate. And then they told the white people that if they didn't train the Indians, the Asian people, that they wouldn't get a severance package. So if they wanted a severance package, then they would have to train the Asian people who were taking their jobs. So that's crazy that Disney, which is a white owned company, made its own white employees who were doing a great, excellent job train Asian people to do their job and then get fired but get a severance package. You see what I'm
Well,
saying? So it's not a
you know,
lack of
well,
ability from white people. It's just like Asians do it at half the rate and they work more hours. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
well, I think that's more of a case for the government, Congress to sort out if that really is true what you're saying, because that's something which I'm surprised. Has this been taken up? Is this
No,
widespread.
no, yeah,
Go.
no, it's widespread, and this is why you see so many Asians in like Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
Apple, Microsoft, because these Asians will do the work at half the rate, right, or three-quarters of a rate. They do it cheaper for a fact, and not only do they do it cheaper, they work longer hours, right? So these people are on salary. Just say they'll say to an Indian man or Chinese man, okay, I'm going to give you this job, but you have to work 80, 90 hours. Where the white man would only work 50 hours, the Asian and Chinese man would have to work 60, 70, 80 hours for the same pay because it's all salary, right? So you're making salary. The white man said, okay, I'll do that same job for 40 to 50 hours. The Chinese and Indian man coming from their country says, I'll do that job for cheaper and I'll work 80, 90 hours per week. It's a win-win
Okay.
for the big tech. And so the big tech, with so much money and lobbying power, they pretty much rule the government. So the government sides with the big tech the vast majority of the time because of so much money they have to keep lobbying the Congress members to make these laws to go their way. See, it's affecting white people now, not just black people. It's affecting white people up top. Go ahead.
So
Uh,
it does seem to me that the Asians are doing something smart. I mean, if they are willing to take the job for less and they're willing to work longer hours just to make more money, they're doing
Yes.
something. They're doing something good. So, but also before you can even take those jobs in the first place, it's not a function of wealth. It's not a function of how much wealth you have. It's a function of how much skill you have. Because someone who is not skillful in the job will not be given the job just because they are willing to take less. So it does suggest to me that the Asians are quite skilled at doing those jobs, and
No, no,
there
no,
is
no.
really no correlation
No,
between
no,
their
no. But I'm
skill
saying,
and their wealth.
yeah, but I'm just saying that, yeah. You asked me, is there, or Vincent asked me, is there a lack of white people able to do the job? And the answer is no. There's more than enough white Americans to do these jobs. We've been doing them. We've been doing them for the whole time. It's just that these I tech people can make a way bigger profit by hiring a Chinese or Indian man to do the job at half the rate, right? And more hours per week. So, but white people, there's more than enough white Americans to do these jobs. That's why at
Okay.
Disney, the white people were doing the job. But Disney said, well, we can get these Asians and Indians to do the same job, right? At the same amount of intelligence level, but we could save half the money and make a hell of a bigger profit and work these people to death. Go ahead.
well,
So why? Okay, Vincent, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say real quick. I wouldn't. I take it that you were quite fond of Trump's economic policy when he was in power. Am I correct? Black skin.
Yeah, I mean, they're all white presidents, and the black president Obama was even worse. So, there's nobody perfect that's come along
Oh,
that's great.
well,
So it's
okay,
okay.
okay. Well, I meant his stance on his economic policies, right? His um America first. Make America great again. That rhetoric. That's why, because I
Oh
know
yeah,
when you.
okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I take it that then you would have been a strong supporter of Trump in that area at least, right?
yeah.
Because
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
here's the thing. I noticed that. Yeah, I was I voted for Trump, right? So I voted for Trump, but at the same time, it's working out better for black people, right? Black American ADOS, because now the white people are feeling the strain of foreigners coming in and taking over their jobs. So now they're like, okay, maybe we should have helped out the blacks and bring them up so we can be on one team. Because now, ADOS is laughing at white people in those big tech jobs, like, ha ha, when we got pushed out, you laughed. Now you're being pushed out, and now you guys are complaining. You call us complaining. Look who's complaining now. So that's making white people look back at us and go, well, damn, wait a minute. They have a point. They have a point. Go ahead.
Mm.
Okay, so let's welcome Kevin D. Black. Kevin, welcome to the show. So you can just say something. Welcome.
Hey, good, good. I am not an American. I'm a Jamaican actually, but I just find this popped up in my algorithm on YouTube, and I think the discussion was extremely interested. So yeah, man, I just plan to join.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what do you have to say about the topic, or what has been
Um,
said so far?
I do agree with some of what Black Skin is saying, but I think sometimes I his articulation, the way he phrase it is kind of bit how would I say now? I wouldn't say off, but I think in essence I would agree with some of what he's saying. Yeah, man. Um, what I'm
Yeah,
based on
yeah,
the trend.
yeah. As long as you agree in essence, we're fine. Yeah, you don't have to agree with everything.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so now my question to you, Ados, how come there are very few blacks in the IT industry?
That's an easy one. We talked about this last week or the week before. When you what I just said, the white man for 350 years Jim crowed us and enslaved us.
I think his mic went out again. Adrian,
Um, can
oh,
I make a point
Yeah, yeah,
here?
please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Based on your line of questioning, I'm wondering if you're trying to do some obfuscation here, in a sense that, um, do you think there was a certain set of condition that African American was subjected to historically that can explain some of these disparity that we observe in today's society?
Yes,
Are you talking to me or Charles or
no, I
Vincent?
think he's talking to me.
I think you'd agree. I think Blackskin would agree with that point. But I'm just based on Charles' line of questioning. I'm just curious to know his answer for that question.
Okay, so let me answer you. Yes, of course. Of course, I believe that there are effects of whatever history African Americans went through in America, but that's not the only reason for what the economic condition of the African Americans currently. We cannot blame everything that's happening to African Americans today on things of the past. Of course, I do believe that there are some effects, but I think that it's not just the only thing. There are also other factors that we have to take into consideration. So,
I Yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. And there has been I think some notable people in the black community that, what did I say, try to racialize everything. And I think just looking through everything from a lens of race is sometimes reductive. But I do not see it as a binary, as in what some many people tend to view it as. Is
exactly.
either this or this. But I do think the fact that there wasn't some you ask, for example, why is there a discrepancy with Asian American, African American? But there was some, in my opinion, and my answer to that question, there was some deep, more, what do I say, in trend, systematical disparity. For example, black people were excluded from certain red line in one of that, they lack of access to affordable house. So these stuff, because there wasn't addressed historically, um, comes down to education again. I think one of the questions you asked, what are some of the causal factor why African Americans are not represented well in the tech space? It goes back, in my opinion, to some educational factors that black people are, that hasn't been rectified in the past. And I do think, um, while do I think some people talk about race too much, but I do think is the fact that there are some set of people in the political climate that will explain everything except for race. So when you brought up some form of disparity, they tried, okay, this is right, but it's not race, it's something else. So some people try to racialize too much, and some people try to remove the race element completely out of it. And I do think there has to be a middle ground somewhere, because it's not either or either. Race still play a factor largely today, in my opinion, and I do think there are ample data there to suggest that.
I agree with you. In fact, I'm in your camp. that is where I find myself in the middle ground. I try to explain everything by the many factors that could be possible that could affect a certain situation. And I don't try to reduce it to just one factor. And like you said, many people try to racialize everything. I mean, everything is as a result of discrimination, everything is a result of Jim Crow, everything is a result of redlining and all that. While that is
Mm-hmm.
true, why that is true um, for the past, but in the current situation of the United States, I believe that there is more equality in terms of access to resources, access to opportunities, and I just feel that many Black people are missing out of these opportunities. Then blaming it on a discrimination or issues of the past. Take the IT industry for example. That is a field that is open to almost anybody that wants to go in, but it is being dominated by Asians. And you ask yourself why? Why are the Asians? It does give us some reasons why the Asians are dominating. One, they are ready to work for longer hours. Are African Americans ready to work for longer hours? Two, they are ready to work for less just to be more competitive. Are African Americans willing to work for less to be more competitive? No, these things are a function of economics, and economics doesn't care about the color of your skin. Those people in Amazon and the rest that are employing Asians, is it because they love Asians so much? It's a function of how much they are going to make out of it, how profitable these people are going to be for them. So a lot of these things are actually economic issues rather than racial issues. So if you can explain to me, unless there is overt discrimination against African Americans going into the IT space, then I don't see a reason why they should be so underrepresented in the IT space. So I just want to know, how come the African Americans in this age, IT wasn't the industrial information technology wasn't born in years ago, just a few decades ago. So anybody alive today could as well have taken advantage of it. So how come African Americans are so underrepresented? Ados
Easy.
or
It goes
Kevin?
back to slavery and Jim Crow.
No, no, no,
No, no,
no. I'm
no,
not
no,
going to
hang,
take
no,
that from your
no,
explanation.
hang on. Martin Luther King Jr. said it in 1967. You can't compare us to anybody because we're the only group in America that's been enslaved in Jim Crow. This is Martin Luther King Jr. that made that statement.
Kevin,
Thank you.
do you want to
When,
do you
oh,
want to comment on that?
yeah, Charles, just really quickly, there's someone in the chat room if you want to put the link so others can
Okay,
join the panel because there
okay.
seems to be quite a number of people.
Yeah, so you can't judge ADOS against anybody because we're the only group in America that's been enslaved to Jim Crow for 350 years. I agree with what Martin Luther King Jr. said. Stop it. Stop it. You can't do it. It doesn't make any sense. At the same time, Lyndon B. Johnson, a white president who's racist, said the same thing. He said it to white Americans. Stop it. You can't
So,
compare
so,
blacks,
so,
ADOS,
so,
to anybody because
let
what
me
was
ask you
done to them. You
this.
can't. You can't.
So, if you as a person, Ados, decide to go into IT, do you think that you're going to be disadvantaged today?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How?
Because
How are you going
uh,
to be
easy.
disadvantaged?
When you and we talked about this before. When you bring in, there's what 4 billion Asian people, and they are dogged on academics, and you bring the top of the top here, and then you got to compete not only against the top of the top Asians coming to America, but you got to compete against the top of the white people in America. There's no
Wait,
way ADOS can compete
hold
against
on.
that. There's 4 billion
AUS,
Asian people, and
I
then you
have,
got the top American and the top Europeans and the top
wait,
Russians. So no, there's no way we
AUS,
compete.
I
So,
have to
so,
disagree
so
with you.
the top every at the top of every other race can compete successfully, but the top of African Americans cannot compete.
No,
I mean,
because
you're
no,
selling yourself short.
no, because you're talking about a pool of 4 billion Asians. You can't compete against a pool of 4 billion Asians who are hell
It's
bent
not
on
true.
academics. Hang on. For 350 years, we were held back from academics, right? For 350 years, that's a
Are you
fact.
being
Oh,
held back from
um,
academics today?
no,
Today,
that
are you
the
being held
no,
back
no,
from
it
academics
doesn't.
today?
Okay, hey, Charles. I mean, yeah, Charles. You can't sit here and say it's like meeting a homeless man and not and saying why saying, well, how did you become homeless? Well, if he said, hey, I was robbed and beat and abused my entire life by my parents, that's going to make a difference, and people will say, well, okay, that is a legitimate reason. Now, if a guy sat there and said, well, for my entire life, I had it great. I was just drinking and being an alcoholic. I didn't care. Then you're going to say, well, that's your fault.
You see, this is an example of what Kevin was talking about. I mean, you reduce everything
Charles, hang
to
on.
racism and to the
Charles,
past.
I'm making a point that when a man, and everybody does this, if a man comes to you homeless and he tells you how he was abused from childhood until adulthood, you're going to say that is an excuse for you to be homeless. But if a man comes to you and said, hey, I had it great and I'm still homeless, then you're going to say that's on you. So we're saying ADOS is a fact that we've been abused for 350 years. And just like the homeless man would have a legitimate reason why he's
I
homeless if he got abused, we've been abused. So the
I
past,
asked
no,
you
hang
a
on, no,
specific question.
Charles, I'm answering a specific question. That the past
You're
matters.
not.
And no,
You're
yes, it
not.
is.
You're not
No,
answering it.
Charles, you're trying to say the past doesn't matter. That's a lie. That is a lie. And nobody does that. Nobody does that except ADOS. When people come to ADOS, what about now? But when we do it to other people, we always bring in the past to see what's going on today. The past matters. You can't say what I'm saying. You're thinking is wrong, Charles. It's absolutely wrong.
The past was shitty for almost everyone
No, you were
over
not
the world.
enslaved to Jim
The
Crow in
past was
America.
shitty for
Then
almost
how come?
everyone,
Okay, if
almost
that's the
every
case,
race.
no. Then how come Martin Luther
People
King
were
Jr.
able
didn't say
to
that? How come
rise
Lyndon B.
above
Johnson
that.
didn't say that? No, see what you're doing. It's
Those
false.
are just
You're making a
arguments from
false
authority and they don't
argument.
mean anything.
Okay. Martin Luther King Jr. doesn't mean anything. Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, I'll give you something in 2020. The Brookings Institute, right? That's 2020. White people. It's a think tank in Washington D.C. and they said the same thing. What's holding back ADOS is white racism, white supremacy. This is 2020, a think tank. So if you want to say, well, let's talk about today, okay, I want anyone to Google the Brookings Institute and Google racism holding back Black America. And it says absolutely the president, which is a white man, says racism, which is a think tank called the Brookings Institute, is holding back blacks today. So white people today, white think tanks go to you, Charles, and say, you're being stupid, Charles. Charles, you're being stupid. Stop it. You don't know what you're talking about. So no matter whether I go to Martin Luther King Jr., LBJ, or the Brookings Institute, they all say the same thing. No, it's a fact.
I'm not going
They
to
will tell you,
entertain
no,
insults.
what you're
I've
saying
told
is
you before.
stupid, and you deserve to be condemned for saying
Not going to
things that are
entertain
stupid.
insults.
Just
So
sit
stop
here
it.
and say the past doesn't matter. You're being an idiot, dude. In this area, you're being an idiot. And I say that emphatically. You can't sit here and say the past doesn't matter. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to divide the past from the future. But everybody knows the future builds up the present. Like if you live in a home, that house was made in the past. That house did not appear today. Everything in America came from the past. If you got a job, that job was built in the past and you live in it today, but it came from the past. You're trying to separate the past from present day. You can't. Nobody does it to anyone. You go to therapy, the first thing everybody knows they talk about is the past because the past determines the future. But you're trying to separate the past because you know if you don't separate the past, then ADOS, we got a legitimate reason why we're here today. But if you separate the past from the now, then you go, okay, what about now? See, that's what you're trying to do, Charles. This is what white supremacists do all the time. They separate the past because they know if you bring in the past, we're legit. ADOS has a real reason against what's going on in America. But if you separate the past, then people like you can say, no, you're just failing. You're just failing. You're not working hard. How can you say that? You separate the past. And that's bullshit because nobody does it in therapy and nobody does it to people. And Martin Luther King Jr. did not allow that either. And I will not allow that from you either. Go ahead.
How do you explain the black success in places like the NBA and sports? How come the blacks are dominating in those areas when
easy?
I mean
America
is
okay,
still...
I'll answer it. Okay, that's easy. I hear it all the time. What about the NBA? First of all, we're only talking about NBA 300 jobs. There's literally tens of millions of jobs in America versus 300 jobs. Here's another thing. When we're born, right? That for the NBA, everything's equal. You go outside and you get a basketball and you play. And
so in the NBA, everything is equal.
Absolutely, because there's no like to be in academia at high levels, you need the schooling, you need the tutors, you need the funding, you need all of that, which we don't have. For basketball, you don't need that. All you need is a basketball and a rim and just work that out. But when it comes to being at the top levels of academia, you need from birth, you need tutors. Let me tell you something. You don't understand America and what white people do. And it's a fact. You can Google it. These uppity white people people from the day their kids are born. They have tutors, they have music lessons, they have the best schools, the best programs, and they put their kids through these programs through their entire lives. So by the time the kids graduate, white kids are far above black kids. You see what I'm saying? You don't understand how this works. And the Chinese people do the same thing. That's why you got these rich Chinese people coming here,
Nigerians
because
as
their
well.
kids are already gone through the academic system since birth. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Resonance.
Look, can you
Let's
guys
hear
hear
from
me?
you. Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you.
First thing, I want to ask. I'm Nigerian as well. And what's the meaning
Okay.
of ADOS? What's the full meaning of ADOS? Hello.
I think
Huh?
it means
I
American
no,
descendants of slavery or so.
I didn't hear
Oh,
what he.
okay.
You talking to me or Charles?
Yeah, yeah. I said,
Yeah,
what's the
yeah,
full
he
meaning of
was also.
ADOS?
Saying what you just said.
Yeah, ADOS,
Okay.
right? He asked what does the abbreviation for ADOS
Like, what
stand
does the
for?
abbreviation stand for?
Oh, American descendants of slavery. So it's
Oh, all
American
right.
descendants of slavery, shadow slavery, and Jim Crow.
Okay. So regarding what you just said about the what white Americans do for their kids, that they tutor them from birth. I think you can also see that trend among Africans as well. I think most African children have always grew up with some, especially the upper class ones, always grew up with tutors as well. So why is that particular behavior not seen in the black community? I mean, being able to hire a tutor for your child should not be something connected with white supremacy. How is that connected with white supremacy? You get
Hey,
my question?
Vincent, can you repeat what he says? His echo is big, and I can't understand
Oh, sorry.
everything he's saying.
Um, Resonance. Sorry, can you say that again so I can translate for him?
Okay, I said concerning white people, as upper class white people, tutoring their
Right.
children from birth.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said Africans do that as well. That is, upper class Africans do that as well. They tutor their child from birth. Especially if you're an African child, you have had a lesson teacher at one point in time. If you get what I mean. Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like,
I can,
why?
yeah.
What? So what about Black Americans? How does white supremacy stop Black Americans for doing that for their own children as well?
Did you hear that? ADOS.
I heard the beginning. I couldn't understand the ending. Go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah,
Just say what he said in a. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So he said right that the upper class Nigerians, right, Nigerians that they tend to get tutors for their children, right. So what he's basically trying to say is that why don't ADOS people do that as well? So for example, like in ADOS communities, right, are there not tutors available or
Easy. That's easy. Goes back from slavery and Jim Crow. We don't
Oh
have the money.
my
Remember
goodness.
when Jim Crow ended,
so
white people
there's
had
no like
gathered
community
almost all the
center?
money. Hang on, they gathered almost all the money, almost all the resources, and almost all the power to themselves. So as a people, we're only worth, as I said earlier, a penny for every dollar whites have. So we simply don't have the money. It
Um,
costs a lot of money to get tutors in America,
um,
especially for kids, and to do it for their entire academic lifetime. That's a lot of money, and we simply don't have the money at the bottom level. The upper level we do, but at the middle to bottom level, no, we don't.
Did you hear that? Resonance.
yeah, I got it. Um, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
that.
Yeah. So this thing that we are saying, right? So upper class blacks have the money. So that's what I was trying to explain. That obviously there's an income disparity between upper class blacks and lower class blacks. So is this more of a, can we say, more of a class issue than a race issue? Because what you just said is that upper class blacks can do it, and obviously they're going to be doing it, and obviously their children as well are going to benefit from that, and they're going to keep getting richer, while the lower class blacks will keep, uh, going down that hill. Right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you and I agree
Uh,
with you. I think many of these things are just the economic issues, they are
I
class
I can't
issues
understand him. So go ahead.
rather than
It,
race issues. So what he's trying to say, Ados, is that from your
yeah,
own admission, the
I can't
upper class.
understand him.
Let me try to explain what he just said.
Wait,
He said,
wait. Oh,
okay, Black family.
um, yeah. I'm confused. How can't you understand him? He's speaking English.
So let me explain what he said. What he said was that from your own admission, blacks who are upper class can actually afford to send their children to the best schools, get them tutors to give them a better life. While blacks who are less economically advantaged cannot do that. So he's saying, are you not seeing this as more a class thing, an economic thing, rather than a race thing? So it could just as well be for the white person too. The upper class white people could afford to send their children to the best schools or to get tutors for them, while those whites who are not so well off cannot do that for their children. So don't you see it as more of a class thing, an economic thing, rather than a race thing? That's what he said.
Okay, I get it. No, because remember what Abraham Lincoln said. This is a white supremacist country. So it's not a class thing because because ADOS did not become poor because of class. We became poor because of white supremacy, racism. That's a fact. So if we became poor because poor whites became poor because of class. Black people, it was never a class thing. It was always a race thing from 1661. So that's the difference. You can't use class because it wasn't class that brought us to being poor. It was white supremacy, racism. You see what I'm saying? Poor whites are poor because of poor. See, poor whites are poor because of classism. ADOS is poor because of racism. You see, there's two different things.
So racism explains everything to you. Racism explains everything to you. That is very reductionist.
How did upper class blacks, that is the rich blacks, how did they get rich?
Did you hear that? LUS. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he said how the upper class rich people get rich.
Right. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's easy. In every group of people, whether you white, black, Asian, Chinese, there's always going to be the geniuses, right? There's always going to be the Michael Jordans in academia. I don't care what country you go to around the world, you're always going to have geniuses. So that's how these upper class in academics did it. They're just geniuses. They're just gifted. Every group of people has gifted people. But that's not what we're dealing with. In America, we're talking about the averages. We're not talking about gifted people. And see, when we talk, and here's the problem with gifted people. When you got 4 billion people, you're going to have a hell of a lot more gifted people within 4 billion people versus only 40 million ADOS. You see what I'm saying? And then when you got those gifted people coming to America vying for the same jobs against ADOS, and then the gifted whites vying for those same jobs, you see why whites and Asians have all the top jobs. You see what I'm saying? Because in every group, there's going to be gifted. Life is not about being the gifted. It's about being averages. In Black America, everybody's not going to be a Michael Jordan, right? Everybody understands that, right? It's about the averages, and the averages, we can't compete with the averages.
Walter Williams, State Against Blacks.
I didn't hear that. Go ahead.
Blacks. State Against Blacks by Walter Williams.
He's asking if you He's asking if you read a book called States Against Blacks by Walter Williams.
No, I'm very familiar with Walter Williams. He just died recently, so I'm very familiar with Walter Williams. And you got to understand with Walter Williams and Glenn Laurie and stuff like that, those are very niche authors, which they themselves admit. Like, the vast majority of Black academics go against them. So when you talk about Larry Elder,
what I want to bring out from Walter Williams' work in State Against Blacks was he talked about economic policies that were put in place that have disadvantaged Blacks over the years. Talking about things like minimum wage laws, licensing, unions, and all that. You consider that as part of what's white supremacy as well? And the welfare state, of course.
Yeah, Vincent, can you tell me what he just said?
I'm so sorry. I actually wasn't listening myself. Sorry, can you say it again? TBC.
Okay.
Go on.
I think so. So he said that Walter Williams made a book called Sit Against Blacks, and then I missed the last part. So can you repeat that?
So he said in the State Against Blacks, there are certain policies that the government did that are detrimental to Blacks. For example, the minimum wage laws, even the welfare state, and unions and all that. So do you also consider that as part of white supremacy?
No, like I said a minute ago, the vast majority of Black scholars disagree with Walter Williams and that kind of statement. No, minimum wage didn't have nothing to do with it. It had to do with white supremacy, and that's what Martin Luther King Jr. said the same thing. Martin Luther King Jr. never talked about the welfare state and all that other stuff, minimum wage. He always said the same thing. White supremacy, racism is what's doing it. Hang on. LBJ, the president at the time, he never talked about the welfare state and all this other. He's like, no, it's white supremacy. In 2020, the Brookings Institute, which is a white think tank in Washington, D.C., says the same thing. It has nothing to do with welfare and all these other things. It has to do with white supremacy, racism. That's what it is. And it's proven
Wasn't
by
it
350
LBJ
years of
that
Well,
slavery and Jim
well,
Crow.
instituted the welfare
well,
state?
well,
That's Lyndon B.
well.
Johnson, right?
It's a mix of both. So, yes, it was racism, but it was also welfare played a huge factor as well. Like we can't ignore that. And just because Lincoln and all these people said it was only white supremacy doesn't mean it's true.
And it
Like
doesn't
obviously,
mean it's
welfare played a
it
factor.
doesn't mean it's true that what you just said too. By that
Well,
same
well, well, well,
logic,
well,
it
In
doesn't
terms
mean
of
what you said
well
is
economics, they
true.
can
So
determine.
I will
okay.
stick with
Hey,
I
hey,
will stick with
listen.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Calm
and
down, calm
LGBTQ any
down.
day.
Look,
I will
look,
stick
Bro,
look,
with
calm
Martin
down.
Luther
you're not
King
looking
Jr.
at this
any
thing
Look,
day.
from economic
look,
point of
look.
views at all. All you just keep saying is white supremacy, white supremacy. What about the
Can I
economic
jump in
aspects?
here?
Are blacks extracted from the economic aspect of America?
Yeah, Vincent, can you say what he just said?
Okay. Wait, you Rice, right? You said have blacks of what? Can you say? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, are blacks separate from the economic aspects of America, like the economics of it all, right? We're not talking about economics generally.
What
Maybe you're talking about free markets, mixed economies, all of that.
did you hear that, ADOS? Or
Are
Yeah, I can't
blacks separate
understand.
entities from all of that?
all right,
Are
so
are blacks separate from what?
the
See,
economic.
now the economic situation of America, the economy of America, capitalism, free markets, mixed economy, are they not part of that system? Are they separate from that system? Are they not affected by what happens within a free market economy? That's what he's asking you.
Yeah, yeah. In large part, yes, because of slavery and Jim Crow, we were made poor on purpose.
Oh my
ADOS
god.
was made poor on purpose, so that's why we
You're
um
just going to keep beating this dead horse.
no,
It
it's
Can
not
I
a
does.
dead horse
respond?
because
Wait, 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 wait.
the
But
Brookings
look,
Institute
look,
said the
look,
same
look,
thing
look,
in
look,
2020
look,
that it's white
look,
supremacy.
look.
You can't.
Wait,
Hey,
wait,
Martin Luther
wait.
King Jr. said
Look.
you can't enslave a people and Jim Crow people for 350 years and say it's not going to have an effect in the
Okay,
future. That's simply
Edos,
Wait, wait,
stupid.
wait,
what
wait.
about
Okay,
these
No,
okay,
facts?
no,
When you
okay,
think
no.
about
okay,
these
okay.
facts, like
Renaissance, you're being
Wait, wait.
stupid. You're being stupid to
ADOS,
sit here and say
Hey,
350
don't
years
do
come
that.
it
on,
does not
calm down.
matter.
Edos,
ADOS,
Renaissance,
calm
Don't do
down.
you're
that.
being an
let me
idiot.
ask you a
You're
question.
Okay,
being
cool
an
down,
idiot
cool
to
down,
say
cool down.
Edos,
350 years
Listen,
doesn't
calm
matter.
listen,
down.
You're being
listen.
Can
stupid.
I
Your
jump in here?
argument does not work.
Edos,
To sit here and
This
say
guy.
350 years
Li-
doesn't matter. You're
how
being
did blacks become after slavery?
Okay, okay,
Bring
okay,
it.
okay, okay. Biko, somebody tell me how this man is supposed to
I
be
had to remove him from the
Oh
stream
my god,
good
because
this guy is
I
conversationist.
don't
very,
like
very.
insults.
This guy is wow.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Okay,
want to
so
like see any other point of view at all.
Oh,
mhm.
that was a mess, wasn't it? Huh.
What I would
Can
say
I
is
jump
this,
in
right?
here?
Right. Oh, um, could I just
No,
speak
because
quickly and then?
there's some claims that are being made here that I want to address, right? Can
Mhm.
you explain how you mentioned the unionization and minimum wage and those certain stuff? Can you explain how those stuff hurt black people?
Oh, okay, I should explain. Can you
Yes,
hear
He
me?
because I
wants you to
Okay,
disagree.
yeah,
I
explain
yeah. For
how
disagree.
example, minimum wage
unionization is.
laws now.
Yes, sir.
Minimum wage laws have an effect, right, of outbidding the low skilled workers, especially teenagers. So if I have minimum wage at $750 and I increase it to $15, people who are worth $750 cannot get jobs. So if it happens to be that for any reason, let's say due to slavery, Jim Crow, and then all of that, blacks are lower skilled. Obviously, they are going to be kicked out of the job market because of that minimum wage. Do you get me?
I agree. I understand what you're saying, but I think that that claim you're making is a little bit hypothetical and not
No, it's
borne
not
out by the.
hypothetical. It's very economically
No,
realistic. It's not
I
an
don't think that
hypothetical
that
one.
claim is borne out by the data at all. Because if you look on
What?
all
Okay,
the
what is the
research,
data? What is the data?
that
What is the data of black
one
teenage unemployment rates from the 60s?
there was
Did it
some.
increase or decrease?
Pardon me. Wait there. Let me address the claim. Let me address the claim.
Okay.
Because I am an economic major at my
Oh, okay.
university.
Which university?
University of the West Indies.
In
Oh, nice,
which
nice.
country?
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Oh, wow, nice.
Jamaica.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Yeah.
actually I'm actually studying mechanical engineering. So
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's let's
oh yeah,
let's
yeah. Let me
let's
hear you.
break this down. So one, right? What a minimum wage does, it it create a baseline as to what is the labor, the cost of labor for workers. No, we can theorize many stuff that increasing the minimum wage too high will disenfranchise some workers. I agree. But the issue is not in the minimum wage itself, but in how you change the minimum wage. Because people in other, when we try translate this minimum wage to other country, especially country like Nordic country in Europe, they have a minimum wage that is $20 per hour, and they have a labor shortage. Their labor force is the highest labor force in the world, especially Sweden. So I am what I'm saying is the minimum wage can be good and it can be bad, but we have to, in order for us to assess whether it's good or bad, look at the effect that it have when it has been changed.
Yeah.
And the last 2 months, what Biden was trying to do is to push a minimum wage across, push a minimum wage through. And there's been a lot of research come out on this, man, that it does not affect low skill worker. What it does, it increase demand for goods. So it's like a circular thing. If you increase lower income people minimum wage, their disposable income also increase. When you increase someone disposable income, they tend to spend more and consume more good. So what this does, this also increase employment too. And based on this assessment, this is borne out by the studies that I've looked on clearly and
Okay. Can
decisively
you
that
can you refer me to those studies?
all right, so let me look at my laptop here.
Okay. So
I have them on
let me
my
just
laptop.
while you're looking at yeah, while you're looking for it, let's just give an example. For example, in Europe now, let's say because it's Europe, there are no very very large amount of low skilled workers, so the effect might be very very minimal. But let us bring it to in my country, Nigeria. Here, let us say we increase the minimum wage to like 200,000 naira. Charles, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Let's
man.
say we increase
we
the
can,
minimum wage
we
to
can
like
hear you.
200,000 naira. What do you think is going to be the effect of that, Charles? Will it increase employment?
But again, you're trapping yourself in this fallacy that I'm trying you not to trap yourself in. The
Okay,
point
what's the
is not
fallacy?
that minimum. No, what I'm saying is that minimum wage is not bad. It's how we change the minimum wage, because minimum wage for if you look on the study, and I'm looking at it on my laptop now, has
Okay.
been good. But if you change the minimum wage too much, it can, and I will agree with you on that point, disenfranchise some worker. But as I laid out to you a while ago, increasing the minimum wage does boost the economy in a sense, because when you have
It,
lower income people with more disposable income, you increase the money velocity in the economy.
isn't
And when
isn't yours more theoretical than mine?
no, 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 as I've said, this is borne out by the data. I mean, this is exactly what Gerard Floyd did with General Motors, in which he
Okay.
paid his worker
Which
more
country?
in America, man.
Okay. So
So what Gerard Floyd did
the
was
workers that he was paying, from what level to what level?
his lowest paid worker,
What do you mean by
because
lowest? Do you mean the janitors? Do you mean
no, man, they
the
have to be
junior
somebody working
engineers?
in. They have to be somebody working in the factory to help with the production of his vehicle.
Yes, I
So the
know, but
point,
like what low
mhm.
skills? Like low skills, even low skills get level.
Remember, labor and the price we attach to labor are very arbitrary.
Yeah,
What
very, of
what
course.
1 hour worth
Not,
of
not
labor
they are not
worth
that
there.
arbitrary because they are not that arbitrary because if there is competition, they are not that arbitrary. It depends on what the surrounding competition is trying to offer you, right? So
No,
it's
yeah,
not that
I
arbitrary.
agree. I
Uh-huh.
agree. I agree in the sense that I agree in the
I
sense
agree with you that I
the
agree with you
market.
that if let's say I was earning $13 an hour, right, and I increase that's what my employer was paying me. But let's say I was worth more than that, but my employer was exploiting me. Let's say, but I was collecting $13,000 an hour, and then the minimum wage was increased to $15 an hour. Obviously, because I'm valuable, my employer will not want me out. He has no choice but to increase my salary to $15 an hour. You get me?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
man.
see, not to
hmm
interrupt you guys, but as it pertains to the original topic,
True, it's
racism
true.
in
Let's not
America.
deviate.
Okay, okay. Actually, yeah, yeah. But both of you can finish now. I'll bring up my point.
Okay, let me just finish my point. So if he increases it to $15 an hour, obviously I benefited from that. But what about people that were earning that were what about $7 an hour, right? How does it affect them? Will the employer increase it to $15?
Yeah, I'm probably. I'm not sure.
Okay, but if you are in that situation, what would you do as an employer, as a businessman?
But I am
Let's
just
say,
saying, we can agree from a different perspective in what can happen after a certain
okay,
change is
okay,
made
fine.
to avoid it. And
My overall point is that depending on the pool of skills in that particular place where the study is being taken, you are going to get vastly different results. There was this graph, I will search for it and send it to you if I can get your contact, of how minimum wage affects people of varying degrees. So you have non-high school graduates, you separate them. You have high school graduates, you separate them. You have the college graduates and you separate them. So if you when they did the study, right, it affected the people that did not go to high school far more than the other people. So obviously the minimum wage is going to depend on the pool of skills of the workers available. So that's why you can get completely different studies in completely different place. If you do a study like that in Sweden and then you come to Nigeria and do that same study, you will see that there's going to be vastly
I
different results,
yes,
right?
I agree. I agree with you, but to categorically say that the minimum wage is bad or it can be bad,
No,
I
I did
think
not
it's
say
at
it's bad. I
least
said it was
complete.
bad for blacks. I said it was bad for blacks because obviously, due to our friend ADOS, I be Ados, whatever his name was, and Jim Crow slavery, this thing, blacks were at the lower rung of the economic ladder. So obviously, if there's going to be increase in minimum wage laws, in the minimum wage law, it's going to affect blacks more. You get my
Okay,
point?
okay. See. I don't think both of you are disagreeing. I think both of you are just misunderstanding each other. But yeah, you're right. Obviously, at the time, blacks will have less education, less money, less resources. So if the minimum wage was increased, and blacks were not quite as at the same level as the white
The
counterparts or
white,
so, then there will be less black people getting employed and getting the job. So there will be more black people who are jobless.
especially at the teenage level. Someone said, who said McDonald's minimum wage. Walter Williams did a lot of studies on this.
But the point is, they are a country that does have a high in New Zealand, in Sweden. These countries are
Yeah,
richer than
I
America,
understand. I get your
and
point.
they
I
have
agree
a
with you
higher
that
minimum wage than what's in America. So I'm just
yes,
saying, why?
you have to consider that New Zealand, all those countries, what's their population compared to the population of America?
But America is way more richer than those countries. I mean, if
America
you
is way
look,
more richer, but their population is way higher. You are going to have a more bigger pool of
but I'm
unskilled
just
workers.
saying, if you look on the gap between the productivity and how income and how wages has kept up with productivity. Wages has fallen and productivity has gone
What
up.
what
The gap between
what is
Okay, okay,
productivity?
so
Let's not have an
uh,
economic debate here. Let us talk about racism in America. Maybe later we can have an economics debate. I'll be happy to have that with you.
yeah, so when then they'll make an economical claim that minimum wage hurts Black America, because I don't think the
Yeah.
economics would agree with you on that one. Because
Okay.
most
Okay. Fine.
economic
Let's agree
in
to
America
disagree then,
today,
because I've
most
explained it
economic
to
in
you.
America today.
No, not
Um,
in America today. I'm talking about in America back then. I'm talking about, can you check the black teenage unemployment rate in the 60s compared to now? As you, if you check it with the way the minimum wage was increasing, let us check the relationship. It's a very, very good research that we can both do.
well, see. I think both of you are on point, but I think that one person is arguing that it's more relative to the country and the economic situation, while the other person is arguing that it didn't benefit the black people at the time in America. So you're both right, but you guys don't understand where you're coming from. I think that's the issue here.
No, he is saying that, I don't want to misquote you, but you are saying that you don't agree with me that the minimum wage affected blacks. Is that what
um,
you're saying?
I agree that the change in the minimum wage can have detrimental impact on certain set of group based on their socio-economic factor. However, to categorically say the minimum wage affect or negatively affect black, I think is lacking contextualization. So what changing the minimum wage because back in the past, the minimum wage was higher adjusted for inflation. So if the wages has decreased since the 70s and productivity has increased, people work more. I mean, wages has not kept up
What
to
do you mean people work more?
productivity.
Are there suddenly more hours in the days of the week since the 70s? What do you mean by people work more? Are people working more
Um,
hours?
product, Productivity is a metrics in which is of
No,
course is an
increase in
average.
productivity does not necessarily mean people are working more.
What we don't care if they're working more, people should be compensated for their productivity.
So people should be what do you mean by what increases productivity?
Outcomes, a change in
Then
variable
what causes the increases? What causes it?
what was that?
Increase in productivity?
What causes an increase in productivity?
Yeah.
A lot of things cause increase in productivity. Increase in labor supply, increase in technology, increase in innovation. There's a lot of variable there. But what we know that this productivity has increased. I mean, more American now work more than three jobs to keep up with the economical situation now when compared back in the past. I
So
mean,
if
this
you are
pandemic has
if
exposed
more
a lot of
Americans are working, if more Americans are working, sorry, if more Americans are working three jobs, then their labor hours. I'm thinking this is how the productivity and wages will be. It's per job, right? Because the hours we split between those jobs. There's only 24 hours in a day,
agree,
right?
but I mean the time in which they spend on that, like
So if more Americans are working three jobs, meaning that the time per job will be decreasing as more Americans are working three jobs.
mm-hmm.
So how does
But I
that?
don't see how that disproves the point of their productivity in how we measure productivity in
No,
the
how?
past. It's the same way we measure productivity now, and
Yes, I know.
productivity has increased. Why you think there's such a
My
disparity?
question to you is that what increases productivity?
I just gave you three variables that increases
You said
productivity.
the increase in labor supply. This is
Mm-hmm.
from immigrants. From immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
where does labor supply from? Immigrants, right?
Yeah, man. Labor
Immigrants
immigrant
are
does
shipping jobs
increase the
overseas.
labor pool. Uh-huh.
Okay, so are immigrants that are coming? Are they considered Americans? Will they be in the same graph as the Americans?
I'm no, I don't think immigrants and American would be fall under the same category.
So which means that, and we know that obviously the population is going to have increased, right?
Wait, I'm not getting your logic here because I think you're trying to explain some stuff away that is
Ye-
inexplainable.
no, I'm
Why do
not
you think
explaining
there is
anything away.
wait, why do you think there is such a drastic disparity between the 1% and the 99%? Why do you think so?
I have no idea.
Precisely because the productivity of this labor force has caused the rich to gain more. So we have to implement policy in order to explain those disparities. I mean, I'm a capitalist, but we have to realize that capitalism doesn't allocate wealth efficiently in many cases. So we have to rectify that. I mean, one of Martin Luther King critique of capitalism was how it inextricably linked to white supremacy. I know we do not like to racialize everything, but there's a critique of capitalism here. And while I do consider myself a capitalist, we have to identify how we allocate advantage and disadvantage and try to rectify those stuff and not just to dilly dally around those questions because they have
No,
real
I'm not.
consequence on the black
I just have
family.
a problem with what you mean by obviously. You're saying that the what increases productivity, technological change. Me, in my opinion, the major component in increase in productivity is due to improvement in technology. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm studying mechanical engineering. I'm my final year. If 10 people, we have a machine called the lathe machine. Does anybody here know a lathe machine? Okay, we have a lathe machine. We have the manual one and we have the automatic one. right? One person with the automatic one can do more than what 100 people will do with the manual one. That is an increase in productivity, but it's not necessarily an increase in labor. You get what I mean? So we
Yeah.
Okay,
invest
I
in that
think
machinery.
can we argue on a more factual based premise and not rely on these hypothetical? Because I do, we can create all hypothetical to suit a narrative that we want to push.
What do
So
you
I
mean by
would
hypothetical?
prefer to
This is
lie
common sense.
within.
This is not hypothetical anything. This is common sense.
Not, I mean, not everything in academic is supplied by common sense. We can
No, no.
do common sense
What is the
conjecture
factual?
all
The
the
factual
time.
is that productivity is increasing, but the wages is not rising fast enough to meet it. And me, I'm
Exactly.
arguing that the productivity is increasing because the capitalists are investing in better technologies, faster rate
So
than
you
possible.
think, wait. Do you think Jeff Bezos, right,
Yeah.
is a billionaire? Why?
Mm-hmm. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire because he serves billions of people.
Yeah, so
Billions
don't
of
you
people use
think him
Amazon.
being a billionaire has somewhat to do with the exploitation of his workers?
See, if you like exploit 100 million people, if you like come to Africa, pack 1,500 million slaves. If nobody buys your product, bro, you are not going to get rich.
Yeah, but we have to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge that it's the workers there who have to do
Mm-hmm.
with supplying those products. I don't know why we dance around this issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So
you have to
so
break it down.
but see, resonance is true. Jeff Bezos, yes, he might he does help millions and billions of people, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that he does not also treat his workers
No, the thing
in
is that
a
how much profit, right, can Jeff Bezos gain, right? By like, let's say instead of him to pay a janitor, for example, $15 an hour, he's paying them $13 an hour. How much profit is he making with that compared to how much he's making from billions of people buying billions of products on his website?
no. I'm not saying that that's why he has the most profit, but I'm just saying that two things can be true at the same time. Like obviously, the man is helping those people, and that's why he's successful. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't exploit anybody else. I think
Yeah,
that's more
I
so what
agree with you. I agree with you
Kevin is saying.
definitely. I agree with you definitely that there's definitely going to be exploitation going on, but you
Hmm.
cannot explain that as why he is wealthy.
Of
No.
course, it's the
But
worker that makes him. I'm not. Can we like
yeah.
keep it? I'm not sure because I don't think we are seeing any common ground on this issue, and I think it's extremely clear. Like if
Hmm.
we want to address certain systematic issue, if we want to play a blind eye to race, okay, but we have to have a fundamental critique of the socio-economic factor that exists
I
in
agree.
every society,
There's a lot of
and I
social
don't
economic
think.
factors that doesn't even concern Jeff Bezos as well. There's
Pardon
a
me.
lot of there's a lot of social economic factors. Uh, One thing that do you agree that inflation, that's increase in money supply, makes the rich richer and the poor poorer?
Inflation, I am not sure. I can be swayed. I haven't looked at any of those studies, so
Okay, maybe you should do uh okay, can do research on it, sha. Because
yeah, man,
when
I
there is
will.
increase in money supply by the government, right, the first people to get it are always the richest people
But
because they are the
I
one that
was,
are
I think so. We were doing something.
Hmm.
All right. So there was this idea that the money, the more expenditure the government puts out there, it increases the inflation because you increase the money supply, so there will be more money tracing a good. So when there's more money tracing a good, it increase the artificial value of the good.
yeah.
Um, which is which I do think is somewhat of a what do I say, cogent hypothetical, but I don't think that can be borne out by the data because inflation has been very steady over the last 2 decades. I just think
In
that's a
where
fair
in where it depends on where.
in the United States, fairly steady.
Yeah, it has been fairly steady, but United States uses they are the foreign reserve. Their dollar is the foreign reserve currency, so there's always going
Yeah,
to be
but every
demand for dollar.
continent have a central bank that regulates their money supply and their interest rate.
Yeah, but nevertheless, the way inflation will affect the United States will not be the same way inflation will affect other countries.
Yeah, well, so this is what I gain in this is what I go back to again, this categorical statement that increase in money supply cause inflation. That's what you said, but I'm just
But that
pointing
is
out to you.
true. That is not that is true.
No,
Isn't inflation beginning
increasing
to
the
affect the
money
United?
supply above a certain level can cause inflation, but that statement, increase in the money supply causes inflation.
Obviously, when I'm talking about increase in money supply, obviously there's always going to be increase in money supply. You should know that I mean rapid increase in money supply. Come on.
No, but because we had a discussion similar to the minimum wage, when I tried to point out to you that the minimum wage in itself is not a problem, is one, how is it implemented and how is it changed over time? Those are the issues we should consider.
Yeah,
It's not the
depending on
minimum wage
and we
in
agree
itself.
that depending on the pool of workers available in that particular area, we agreed on that, right?
Yes, but again, is it just a broad categorization that you're
No,
making that I
obviously
have an
it
issue with?
ceases to become a broad categorization when we then realize with that among ourselves that depending on the pool of workers in that particular area is no longer a broad categorization like that, right?
No, okay, all right, I get you. Think I'm beating a dead
So
horse here.
Okay, so
yeah,
let me just jump into the conversation and see if I can summarize or make sense of what has been said so far. Resonance says that the minimum wage laws, in a way, they have an effect on the black community in the sense that minimum wage laws negatively impact on skilled workers because if you are not so skilled
Wait,
and
can I
you
make a small interjection? Do you know what have a negative effect on the black community? Tax cut.
yeah.
why
That is what disproportionately affect the black community.
Okay, how does
Minimum
tax cuts
wage.
affect the black community? Black community?
One, because tax cut is what sorry, I have the studies on this. So this study was done by the London Imperial University. Study 50 years of tax cut and how it affect income in distribution over that 50 years. So no, the idea for Reaganomics is to one, what we do is we cut tax for the wealthy, and that will stimulate the economy. That's the theory. That's a fundamental theory. No, that was not pinned out to be true, because what that does, it increase the amount of income that wealthy people have, and they do not downstream that income. They keep that income, and that is why you see this idea of the wealth gap is so increasing over time. The pandemic in itself proved that when I think the top 10 billionaires make more than $1 trillion over this pandemic alone. So the idea is making wealthy people have more money and getting that access to money does not stimulate the economy. And when you're talking about income disparity, the majority of people are hurt by that policy is the lower income people, and
Okay,
lower
so
income people
um,
tend to be
what?
black people.
Okay, so what you're saying is, as wealthy people get wealthier, right? They keep the money. So by them keeping the money, that prevents poorer people from rising up.
We reminded the idea of Reaganomics was you cut tax on corporation will use that added money and stimulate the economy. That is Reaganomics. That was
Uh,
pioneered by
co-
Reagan.
I,
But that,
I know about ergonomics, but my own view on it is that you why why you are looking at it both ways in the sense that the one camp is saying that we cut tax for the rich, right? The rich take that money and invest it back in the economy, right?
mm-hmm,
Then the other camp is saying that we cut tax for the rich don't invest that money, they
mm-hmm,
keep that money, and by them
mm-hmm,
keeping that money is keeping the poor people poor, right?
mm-hmm,
Okay, so my own view on it is that how does the rich, like let's say I am worth $10 million, right? And I'm paying
mm-hmm,
$5 million in taxes.
mm-hmm.
Let's say Trump gets into office again, second term, and he cuts taxes for me, and then I get to keep $2 million out of that $5 million. Does it mean that by me keeping that $2 million, right? somebody else in the economy is $2 million poorer.
You're asking me somebody is in the economy is 2 million poorer?
Like, does it mean that the economy is $2 million poorer?
Not necessarily.
So if so, where does the idea? Okay,
This is my
the
problem, you know. Like this is the problem I'm having here. I don't think the argument you're pushing are grounded in reality. You're just creating so much hypothetical to prove your point, and I'm just
I'm
saying
not.
that those points are not borne out
No,
by the data at all. We can look over this all we want. It's not you. The data does not lie on your side at all. You're just creating some fantasy to justify something that you're saying.
yeah, but that's why bro, I'm here to learn from you now. Ahead, can you reference me to the study of the
All right, so
London?
it's done by London Imperial
Okay,
University. That's the study. It was
Okay.
the study was done
so
But
last.
white people keeping their money makes black people poorer, right?
Let
No,
me comment.
wait there. I want to address this question simple. Let's create an hypothetical, right? You have a
Okay,
society, right, where 10 people lives
no,
in
you
that
are the one
society.
creating hypothetical now.
Reason us,
No,
let
but
him speak.
because I want you to match this.
Yeah, yeah,
My hypothetical are borne out by the data, but let's
by the
focus
data.
on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one a while.
Okay,
So there are 10 people living in our country, right? One person have $1 million and the
okay,
other nine have $1.
okay,
Do you think that would be a do you think if we distributed that wealth, it will be a better or a worse country? If we say, okay, then this person with $1 million, no, we distribute that $1 million so that the society can be more on a level playing field. Do you
okay.
think that would be a happy or less happy country?
It depends on a lot of factors. Our society has 10 people. One person has $1 million. How did you get that $1 million?
No, we don't care where the wealth come from. Just answer the
Okay, we don't care.
hypothetical.
We don't care where the money comes from. It was
Mm-hmm.
just given to him. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if it was just given to him from nowhere, the money came from nowhere, then
A
yeah,
lot
sure.
of the
Why
wealth
can't it
in
be
today, wait,
distributed?
then a lot of the wealth in today's society are generational wealth that has been passed down. The idea of social mobility is largely a myth. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
answer the hypothetical because I just answer the
Okay,
hypothetical,
yeah, I agree
please.
with you. Yeah, if in that hypothetical situation where the money came from nowhere, yeah, sure. Distributing it, but distributing it will make a fairer society.
Okay. Can I just comment? I want
Okay.
to comment on wealth creation. Um, Now, I watched a video of because one of the my criticisms of Ados of his points was that it's to me it seems as if wealth to him it seems as if wealth is finite, that there is a finite amount of wealth, and once it has gone round, um, some people don't have, those people can never have wealth anymore. You understand? I was watching a video, or I don't know if anybody knows Milton Friedman. He was an economist, and
Yeah man, I know
you know
Milton
you
Friedman.
know good.
He and Thomas Sowell was very um
Yes,
close. And he
yes,
was from the Chicago School of Economics too, so
yes.
I've read a
So
lot of his theory.
there was a seminar, and someone asked him a question that, what happens when all the wealth of the world has been used up? So he then asked the question back that, in the let's say in the 17th century, how much oil did we have in the world? And the student said
Oh
none.
yeah, I think I
He
remember
said
that video.
he said good. He said now, but how much oil do we have now? We have a lot of oil now, which means that wealth creation is infinite. Taking it back to that same question, how much big tech companies did we have like 30, 50 years ago? None. But today, the tech companies they're one of the greatest areas where wealth is being created. So I don't believe that um, once people are disadvantaged from their ancestry, that they cannot create wealth in this current age, because there are many opportunities for wealth creation that are being discovered day after day. That it doesn't matter where you're coming from, it doesn't matter your background, as long as you're
Don't you
industrious.
think those statements lack a lot of
can I jump
contextualization?
in?
Go on.
Okay, Kevin, please finish. Not to cut you off.
No, I'm not saying that. Yeah, you make those statements, right? But they lack a lot of context. Like we, all right, we can acknowledge that there are certain stuff, or there are certain variable that can increase the equity or equality within our society, that can expose people to the idea of equality of opportunity, right? So the idea of funding, proper
Hmm.
education, proper healthcare. Like those stuff give people more access to certain stuff. Because one of the issue is like they has been talked about for a long time about like how segregation still played itself or plays itself today in our society, and how much a white school is more funded when compared to a black school. I don't like to racialize stuff, but I think your line of reasoning sometimes kind of ignore the racial part and just say, hey, everything is an
Hmm.
equal playing
So
field. And I think you
I
mix.
want to give you an example of something, right? I Yeah, maybe there the black schools. I do believe that one of the biggest problems facing Black Americans today. I'm not a Black American, but that's just my belief. My opinion is that is lack of education, right? Uh, but what's even if black schools are underfunded than black schools are underfunded than white schools. Have you heard of this story about a school in Baltimore or something that the kid had a 0.14 CGPA in his high school?
Yeah,
Who has heard the story?
yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that and it was average. It was 62 out of 100 with that score.
It's the environment.
Yeah, so that's type of thing now. Is it due to underfunding or due to lack of care about the education of that child from maybe the parents or maybe
Guys
the
have
teachers?
No,
you
no,
are kind
no. See,
you guys don't read
well,
Malcolm X, right? You
well,
guys do not
well,
read Malcolm X.
actually, let me comment on this. So the problem with Nigerians is that Nigerians think that Black
Hmm.
Americans are lazy and don't want to work, which is not exactly true. That's just a
Right,
stereotype.
right.
Black Americans have been through a lot that many
They have.
Nigerians are not don't know about or don't are not willing to learn about, and that see that's where I can see where these ADOS people come from
Right.
because they think we're all ignorant and we don't know about the history in America. Look, after slavery, the slave had no wealth, no education, nothing, pretty much. Now, when that's in the family, that passes down from generation to generation. It's hard to get out. It's hard to get out of that. What's the word? That
Cycle.
cycle. So obviously, you cannot see the effects today, as how even like and this doesn't even account for Jim Crow and all these other laws that were racist against Black Americans to show the injustice and the disparity between Black Americans and white Americans today. And that's the difference. Like most Nigerians just think, oh, you just need to work hard, or you need to work hard, take opportunity, take opportunity. But if you're American and you're born in America, you would see that there's a difference between the opportunities for the average Black American compared to the average white person, America. And for them, that's not fair. For us, we see it as, oh, that's still a big opportunity, but for them, it's not fair compared to their counterparts.
Um, even if the opportunity is still unequal, nevertheless, it's still an opportunity. Like what you said now, for us now, for me now, there are a lot of things that I wish to do, right? That I cannot just do because I'm in Nigeria. There are a lot of things. I know a lot of people who, a lot of fellow Nigerians, right, who are able to make money because this same America exists, right? A lot of web developers, a lot of graphic designers, they make their bread and butter from
Of
America
course, of
while
course,
even
of
staying
course.
in Nigeria. So we obviously we are going to look at it as a we were going to look at it as a is a big opportunity for us. Today it might be a small opportunity, but nevertheless, a small opportunity is still an opportunity. For example, now look at the story that I gave you now, right? The Baltimore story, right? How much does Jim Crow slavery? I mean, look at the kid. The kid is not a good kid now. He's not a ghetto kid, right?
Hmm.
The mother was
But but but
speaking
but
good
but
English.
but, but, see, the issue is that I think I saw that story just briefly, just a video on YouTube. I think that the average score in that school was also similar. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
very
that
very
child was
low.
an outlier.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that that tells you that that's the environment. That's not really the children's fault or the parents' fault.
No, I
That's
know.
more
You
so
look
the
at
environment.
the kid, the boy missed almost all his classes. Does that also to do with environment?
Okay, can
Actually,
I
it can.
before
See,
you continue,
because like,
please, can I just come in 1 minute?
okay,
Um,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I,
I'm enjoying this conversation. I like the insights that Kevin, Black, and Reasoners are bringing into this conversation, and I'd want them to come onto other live streams some other times too. So I would be exiting soon, and the Black Commander will continue as your host. So I just Resonance and Kevin Black, if you can just drop your email addresses or any method I can contact you with. I've dropped mine. I've dropped my email address. If you feel
On the chat.
comfortable contacting me, or
In
you
the
want me,
private
yeah,
chat.
you can drop it on the chat so I can reach you later on. I like to reach both of you.
Kevin Black, can you please send those studies to my email?
I will definitely send you one. I
Okay.
think
Thank.
currently I have more than 250 studies on me, so I can
Oof,
oh
send you
wow.
all
that's a
of
lot
them.
of work.
So Kevin
Okay.
Black, please can you send your email? Let me copy.
All right, let
And
me
and
see.
Charles,
Yeah.
yeah, please send me. Okay, so to moderate, I need to access your StreamYard. Can you just email me your um? I'm not sure how we do this actually. Is there a way to make me be able to moderate without giving me access to your StreamYard?
I don't know that. If I exit, will the stream go off? Would it end?
No. It'll still be up. It'll still be up. But don't end live stream. Just you can just exit.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah. Vincent, actually, I think I'm going to share my StreamYard with you. So then, if I happen to like sleep off or exit, you can now also moderate and
Okay,
bring
sure.
people in and bring people out. If that's
I don't,
okay by you.
sure, yeah. I don't mind.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, for us Nigerians, if you know a small opportunity in America, like
Right,
if a person can even make money in Nigeria using
right.
America's market. Now
Yeah,
that's a
sure.
big deal for us because it's like we see it as a big opportunity and we can take what's the word? We can exploit it. But for Americans, relative to their environment and how they grew up and what they
It's
see
sub,
around them,
right.
yeah, it's subpar. It's not up to par with the experience of other Americans. Now, I'm not somebody to have the victim mentality and give excuses, but it plays a big factor into how people feel and what they think.
I think where our frustration at times stem from is that there's been many people in the media, especially people from the Democratic Party, has somewhat just been, what should I say, virtue signaling these issues. So they talk about race a lot. They try to divide against racial lines, right? And that has somewhat make us somewhat lethargic or immune to these stuff. We are tired of hearing these stuff. So when people
Hmm.
talk about race now, like we don't want to hear about race. It must be something else. But that I think this co-opting of the racial thing, as as I said, make us immune, but we cannot just abandon it like that. It does play a factor in today's society.
I
And
agree. I
while
agree.
No,
And
I agree with you that race is definitely going to play. Like what I always try to tell people is my view is like if you're a minority anywhere, although whites do have, I used to joke that, although it's a joke, nobody should fight me, that whites have more white privilege in Africa than America. It's just a joke, but like if you're a minority in any place, you are going to feel a certain like a certain the world is against you kind of vibes. I don't know if you guys get what I mean.
no, yeah, I do. Actually, 1 second. There was a question in the chat saying, "Where's everybody from and where's everybody in right now? Like your base and
I'm in
your
Nigeria,
country."
and
Okay.
Nigeria day.
And are you in
No,
Nigeria too?
yeah,
Are you in Nigeria too, or are you in UK or
I'm a
US?
Nigerian. Oh. I'm on Nigeria.
Okay.
No.
I'm in Nigeria too, sir. But I did Nigeria now, right now.
Okay, you go from state to Nigeria or Nigeria based
See,
gangan.
see, I did UK, I did US, I did Canada, but I
Ah,
did.
boss, now you.
Uh,
Comfort
So
zone
thank
for us.
you.
currently we have Kevin Black. Is a Jamaican. I guess, are you in Jamaica right now, Kevin Black?
Yeah, I'm in Jamaica currently.
Okay,
Jamaica
so,
currently.
okay. So
Okay,
Kevin
no,
Black,
that's good actually.
Jamaican from Jamaica. Vincent Alakija, Nigerian in the US right now. Myself, Charles Okokotu, Nigerian in Nigeria. A Black Commander, Nigerian in Nigeria. Resonance, Nigerian in Nigeria. So this is a Nigerian platform
Right.
for all the
So,
I
so,
Blacks.
have
so,
one.
so I guess my other question would be: has anybody here traveled outside Nigeria? And for Kevin, have you traveled outside Jamaica?
I went to Canada once. No, I went to Canada twice. Yes.
Okay. And is it
Yeah,
just a visit, or do you live there?
No, that's a visit, man. I lived in Jamaica.
Okay.
me, I've never traveled outside, but I talk with because
Right.
my
So
the work I do is concerned with is connected to America, sha, so I'm connected with a lot of Americans. So
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
you've never traveled outside of Nigeria, right? Resonance.
no, 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 never.
So, how do you form your opinions of the Americans, especially, specifically Black Americans? Because, I do find it quite puzzling why, um, as TBC said earlier, right? Like there seems to be this misunderstanding among fellow Nigerians, and
Oh yeah, I
it-
I agree that I'm part of the gang, the group that stereotype Black Americans a lot.
right, right.
I give a lot of flack to Black Americans because
But
and
why
I,
is that?
I I agree that there are a lot of problems that they are facing or that you guys are facing, but I just maybe to like get there and experience it myself. I just
Well, I
can't get
think
over it because yeah,
go on. No, go on. I'm
okay,
listening.
because I just can't get because like I told you now, my work right is with Americans. A lot of them white. In fact, the few that I'm in, there's no black, maybe some Indian, right? So what most of what I do, the freelance jobs that I do, is always connected to Americans. So that's why it's always very, very difficult for me to like sympathize with Black Americans.
Mm.
Uh, okay. Can
So,
I?
go
Okay,
on.
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on, Kevin.
No, because I wanted to make a point here that I've always heard a lot, and I
Mm.
do not think it have any backing, whether by studies or data about how welfare. I've always hear conservatives say it, especially black conservative, how welfare um plays out in the black family and those stuff. I think someone on this panel mentioned something about welfare and how it destroy black family. And
I think. Oh.
who was that?
No, I think that comment was said in the chat room from I think it was Anne, I believe. Uh,
Okay, because
yeah.
this
Oh.
I like I've always heard it a lot. And
But you say you've
what
never
it,
seen any study concerning that.
what was that?
You say you've never seen any studies concerning that.
No, that not welfare. I think I've done extensive studies on welfare. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
welfare.
but what about the fact of is this true? Let me just confirm from you. Is this true that um, the single parent household has increased in the black community since the 60s till now? Is that true?
Yes.
That
Yes.
is
Yeah,
true. That
Is
is
that
true.
factually
Yeah,
correct?
it
yeah.
is true.
Yes. It is.
So, okay. So, but what you are saying is that there is no connection between the welfare state and that. That's your point.
But that is the fallacy you're commit. You have to
How
prove a
is that a
causality
fallacy?
here. You are not. You're throwing out two data and try to link them together. Like you
No,
cannot
yeah,
just
that's why I'm asking you. I'm confirming from you, bro. Do you believe it
because
or not?
no, there is a lot of contributing factor. And this, when I hear conservative talks about this a lot, like Glenn and Thomas Sowell and those people, like you have to acknowledge that there are certain policies, like the biggest disintegrating thing for a black family is the war on drugs.
Oh
How
yeah, I
that
agree. A lot of black conservatives agree on. Thomas Sowell is a conservative, and he agrees on stopping the war on drugs. A lot of
yeah,
black
so
See,
conservatives do agree on that.
see, I would say this: the black people. I've been paying less attention to American like politics and things like that for the past like 2 years or so. But from what I know, I would say that uh, the black liberals and the black conservative figureheads in the media, they both focus on race too much. One side claims that race plays no factor, which is the conservatives, and the other side claims that race plays all factor, which is the
agree. I
liberals.
agree.
So
I agree.
the
I
truth
do
is in the
agree.
middle. Obviously, race
It's in
plays
the
a
middle,
factor,
right? Right.
but it's not
Right.
everything. Like
But
a
Yeah.
person like
Black Commander,
yeah.
Black Commander, I just want to ask you because like
Okay, guys, I'll
it,
be out now. I'll be out now. Enjoy the conversation.
all right,
See you guys some other time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
See you after, and thanks for having me up. Oh, by the way, I'm Charles.
yeah, exactly. I enjoyed the conversation a lot. Does everything have to be in the middle? Like there is Kevin, are you aware of that kind of there's a name for it, it's this fallacy that two plus we you 2 plus 2 is 4, me 2 plus 2 is 5. Okay, fine, let's meet in the middle. 2 plus 2 is equals to 4.5. There's a name for it.
The issue is that there is no way to properly and without doubt prove your point. Therefore, you can't say that's a fact.
Yeah, yeah.
Two plus two
Black
is
Commander, yeah.
four. It's a
I
fact.
was thinking
Yes.
of something. I was like, the reason why I usually go for the individual accountability factor is that I think I was watching a YouTube video, Abba and Preach, and they were talking about how, what Kevin Black said, was it Kevin Black or ADOS, that if you are white and you are poor, you got there because you are whatever, you are not hardworking or whatever nonsense like that, that you are
That's not
drunkard or
true per
whatever.
se. That's not true per
Oh
se.
no, I just like that was their point, or like trying
Okay.
to prove systemic racism. That, but if you are black and you're poor, you got there because of Jim Crow, slavery, and red line and all of that.
Hmm.
So, so my what I was just thinking was like, how do you separate it from the point of like, how do you look within yourself, right? How do you? It becomes very difficult for you to analyze where your wrongdoings are if everything that you think is happening to you is because of an external factor.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that point. Like, how can you say that white people who are poor is because of their being lazy, but black people is only
um,
because of racism? Now, that would be assuming that every black person is hardworking, but racism hold them back, which is not exactly true because I think we cannot account for a black person we know who's lazy doesn't do anything with their life. So that's the issue there. People like to go to extremes, and instead of saying, okay, Bob might be white, but he's lazy and he can't get a job because of his own choices,
well, I
and
think
then
generally people want to work, people want jobs. I mean, if you create the economical incentive for people, people will work.
well,
That is
people
basic
have to work
economics.
actually. So yeah, so it's not
What?
even just.
Well,
I said
not
you
necessarily. In
have to work
America,
actually.
you don't need to
Yeah.
work actually. In Nigeria, you need to
Well,
work.
okay. I was talking in general terms, like work terms. But actually, in America, I guess you can collect welfare
In America, you don't
and
need to
collect all
work.
this.
No, man, you have to work in America. I mean,
No,
you
you
can look
don't.
on the income
What
distribution in America. It's very
unemployment
shitty.
benefits, uncle?
But
Do
see,
you
to get
really
get
think,
benefit, that's to have a
do
specific
you
Eh?
really
qualification
think
though.
a person want to be on unemployment benefit for the rest of
Oh,
their
come
life?
on, bro. Come on. Don't tell me that there are no people like, come on. If bro, if I take Yankee and I dey collect unemployment benefit, I don't go work. Oh.
Wait,
I mean,
let me ask you a question.
sorry, do you
Let
understand
me
my
ask you.
language?
See,
Sorry.
no. But see. How is the unemployment? I'm not sure. How much is it? By the way, the unemployment benefit.
I think they increased it. I'm not sure. I think $600 per week or something.
And do you really think that unemployment benefit was enough?
It's
Well,
not.
if it's enough, it's enough. So are you telling me that there are no people on unemployment benefits that
Well,
don't
there are.
want to look for
No,
work?
no,
There
no,
are.
no.
No,
See, so,
see, I
okay.
problem I have. Wait, let me jump in. This is a problem I have. I think you are subscribing to this stereotypical view of black people. I mean,
Right.
No,
I'm
this is not
Right.
not.
I
concerning black
agree.
people. I'm not
Yeah.
talking
Wait,
about black people
let
here. Oh.
me make
No,
my
no, no,
point.
no. I'm not talking about black people here. Oh.
Because
Don't
wait,
miss.
wait,
I never
when
mentioned
I
black people in unemployment benefits.
no, because wait, all right, sorry about that. But let me make another
I'm not
point.
talking about black
One,
people.
if you look on countries with better welfare state, Sweden, Canada, and those countries, they have better welfare state than America, and they have better labor participation rate than America. So this
Mm-hmm.
idea is just completely ridiculous. No, people want social mobility, and if you lack social mobility in a country, people will not be able to move. If a person get more unemployment benefit from the government than what they get to work, of course people will not work. You have to create the incentive for people to work. We see this the other day. There was a shortage, right, for employment last month in America, where businesses were complaining that people are not coming to work because of the
Right. Right.
welfare,
Yep. Yep.
etc.
Yep. I remember.
But
Yeah.
guess what happened when the business started increase their wages?
Right. People started
People
coming in.
flooded the
Not all
application.
businesses
So the
increase.
well,
idea,
see.
like people have to work. Like I think there was some research the other day, like 60% of America live paycheck to paycheck. Like
Mhm.
if you're not giving people the incentive for social mobility, of course they won't work. Country that have higher welfare state have higher labor participation rate. So you cannot say people on welfare don't want to work. There's the economic incentive is just not there. And I've always heard conservative make these statements, and it's just fatuous. It's just laughable because it display a lack of basic economics. Like Thomas
What
Sowell and those
Well,
guys who claim to be economics. Like these stuff is just counterintuitive. Like give people the incentive and they will work.
what type of incentives?
actually, Kevin B. Black, that's a good point, actually. But see,
What are the
actually, you know
incentives,
what?
Kevin B. Black?
What was that?
What are the incentives, like examples of incentives that will make people to work?
Oh, increase their wages. As I point to you, like
Right.
Okay,
60% of
like the
them will.
minimum wage laws, right?
Yeah, Amazon have a minimum wage right now. You know why I have a
Yeah,
minimum
yeah,
wage?
yeah,
Because of
Actually,
Bernie
well,
standard.
yeah, yeah. So what do you
another
recommend? Do
incentive
you
could be oh my apologies. Continue.
okay? Do you like how do you view the minimum wage should be increased state by state or a federal minimum wage?
Probably state by state, or you can have a federal minimum wage, but you have to create that
Like,
federal minimum wage based on the profit margin of a
what's the
business.
population of Canada?
What was that?
Like 33 million,
Because
30, 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around that.
Canada is like 30 to 35 million, that's around the,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
I saw a Kevin Black all these things, this stuff that you're saying about welfare and labor participation. You know, there are a lot of
Hmm.
things in America that if you rank state by state, right? For example, Canada has a population of 30 million. That's around the
Hmm.
same population of California.
Hmm.
Mm.
So if you
Uh,
rank state by state, right, and you put all those countries in between, the Norways, the Sweden's, the Denmark, that's the Nordic countries, like the Nordic model countries. Uh,
Hmm.
there are a lot of states. Maybe I will have to go and find out. There are a lot of states that in America that rank above those countries in those rates, and there are a lot of
In
states
what social mobility?
like in those yes, in those metrics, yes.
That's not true. That is absurd. That is not
Okay.
true.
So yeah, you mean that there are no states in America that rank above all those countries in terms of
In so-
disposable income,
um,
social
well,
mobility. All the countries are
No,
this. All the
no.
states are the same.
Somebody was saying some. Continue.
no, no. I was going to say, I think resonance. He does make a point. I know California. They did say right if it was to be its own country, right, it would be the ninth largest economy in the world.
Oh yes, I agree. No, but that wasn't the
That's
question here.
So the question
California,
is like in
um,
terms of disposable income, social mobility, unemployment rate, all those metrics that are used to
I
gauge
feel,
economies.
I
Like
feel
taking the
I'm
average
getting
of
that.
all states in
Wait,
America usually
like,
drops them.
I feel to a certain extent that we what would I say, hypothesize or theorize a
So this
lot
one
of
is
stuff.
not a theory. Just let me find the study. Come on,
But
it's not a theory,
but
man.
we are looking at social, like we make the claim, people make the claim
Yes,
over and
I
over.
know. The point I'm trying to make is that all those claims that you are making, if we rank some states in America, right, take them out. Sweden, what's the population of Sweden? America is
Um,
population of 300
but we are
million.
talking about rate, take into account the
Yes,
population that
I
you
know.
have. Mm-hmm.
Sweden is just 10 million,
Mm-hmm.
right? California is
But
three
we have
times
better way,
Sweden. New
like the
York is four
minimum
times.
wage. Wait, the minimum wage in Sweden is $20 per hour of that in America,
Yes,
and
but
it's that represent
Sweden
economy.
has a population of 10 million people.
Ex- I am
Comparing the
talking
minimum wage
about.
in
Do you know
Sweden
the
cannot be the
difference?
same
Wait,
as
you do you know
comparing
that
the
there's a
minimum wage
difference
in
between
America.
GDP
But
and
you know that they have
GDP per capita?
right and resonance, right? I don't know if you're aware, right? They have high tax rates as well in those countries, so it's
They
Exactly.
have high tax rates
very
in
high.
Sweden, but in fact, there was this guy, I don't know if you know his name.
Wait there. Wait there. Let me ask you a question,
Their
Reginald.
tax rate
Let me
is
ask you
more
a
on the
question. What is your solution to this welfare thing? I'm
middle
very
class
Right.
side,
curious. I don't
on the
think you have
rich.
any solution. What do you think is
Well,
your
actually,
Yeah.
what is your solution to this welfare thing
What
and
is
welfare
no,
dependency?
I'm not against welfare.
I think
Okay.
there should be limited.
I'm not
Well,
against welfare at
uh,
all.
go on,
okay,
Tina.
okay. Back to the a point somebody made. Someone said population in Canada. Population in Canada is actually 37 million, 38 million, I
Oh,
think.
there you go. Right,
This year it's increased.
that's
And
around the same population as California, because it's like 39, 38 million. So
okay, okay. And there was a point somebody made before, but I just lost my thoughts. I was about to say something, I forgot. Go on actually. Yeah.
No, what I'm just saying that we have to think about incentive and how does incentive allocate advantage and disadvantage within our society. And I do think welfare does cater to lower income people or people who, and the funny thing about this, the majority of people who are on income are people that has been divorced or their spouse has left the house. Like, so we have to be careful with this
I didn't
categorization
hear what you
because
said. What did you say?
I've repeated. I've just listened to a lot of some people on the right who talks about this a lot. Like welfare state has destroyed the black family and those stuff with no form of academic base in that. It's just a feel-based stuff. So we can point to the 60s and say, okay, black people were more together there, and now black people are less together. So that is it. And you have to be able, when you make such assertion, you have to be able to substantiate that assertion with data or studies. And I just don't see any studies out there to prove that. That is just not true. And the point, the what happened the other day, you can research it if you want to. With the when there was a shortage in the labor force of people not wanting to work because the government was providing the stimulus check for them. And the moment these companies raise the wages, people up they were flooded with application because people want higher wage. Nobody want to work 4 jobs and still living paycheck to paycheck. Come on.
No,
Also,
what did you say? Wait, what did you say? You said
well,
something. You said nobody wants to work for a job and still live
and live
Nobody want
paycheck
to
to
work
and
paycheck.
live.
4 jobs and still live
So
paycheck
everybody
to
deserves not to live paycheck to paycheck.
No. He said nobody wants to work 4 jobs, like more than one, two,
Okay,
three,
four
four,
jobs.
and live
Okay,
and
okay,
live
okay.
paycheck to paycheck.
Four
Okay,
jobs.
but also another benefit from working is also employee benefits and retirement benefits compared to living off the government. Now, I don't think most people want to live with the government, but there is a certain group of percentage who are okay with getting.
I
Is it
do not disagree with that. I agree a hundred
yeah,
percent. But do
Yeah,
not
there's one
use
thing
that
that's always
small
bothered me.
percentage as a
yeah,
generalization of what
There's
the
one thing that's always
people.
bothered me about Americans.
I
Why
agree, I
do
agree
Americans
because
love? Why do they love health insurance so much?
I'm not
That's
sure actually. I have to ask them.
well,
What was your
Because me, I'd,
question?
I'd rather have that health insurance in cash than have the
What was your
insurance
question?
itself.
No, no,
what
no.
Like,
See, but see, but healthcare is very expensive in America. Remember?
oh yeah, yeah, that's true, that's true.
what do you mean by health insurance in cash? Can you
Like,
elaborate, please?
I think some employers have to provide their employees with health insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
So what
he's
I'm
basically
saying
saying
is that
that
that money for the health insurance that the
you'd
employees
rather have it in
pay,
cash.
I'd rather have it in cash.
So wait a
I'm
minute.
putting it in
So
your pocket.
what about when people? Don't you think giving people health insurance in cash will somewhat make them spend the money on
No, I'm
something
not saying
else
people. I say
aside?
me, what I would prefer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
What
But
I
see,
prefer it
like,
in cash.
okay, okay. See, the problem is
Wait
that.
a. Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, no problem. So the issue with that is that let's say they said instead of giving health insurance in cash, people start spending it around buying things, new computer, new laptop,
Depending
casino,
on
go and gamble the money away, things like that.
Okonko.
So, I mean,
No, I said
it
what
was just
I said
waste.
what me I prefer. I don't say what they should be doing. If I can
Okay, I
negotiate
mean,
something like that, if I can negotiate something like that.
I guess so. But
Anyway, maybe that's why a lot of American companies are beginning to ship job overseas right now because a lot of freelancers overseas don't really care about all those things. So
yeah,
the
that's true. That's also why people hire illegal immigrants in US because they don't have to go and give
yeah,
the
exactly.
health benefits or things like that. And
That's
also
where
you
that
can yeah you can also pay them much lower and negotiate and keep more money in your pockets.
that's where me I
Again,
feel like
like
unions come at a disadvantage to
mhm.
we who work overseas, right? Because
But this is a okay. Um, I apologize for cutting you off, but this is
no problem.
another bad effect of capitalism, because then you see the mistreatment of other employees and the ways they incentivize people to come to US illegally and get jobs, and then the company also benefits because then they don't have to give them health benefits, they don't have to pay them as much. The illegal immigrants, for example, that's another example of the way capitalism has a negative impact on society.
And it depends on which capitalist you ask. Some capitalists believe in free immigration, some capitalists believe in closed immigration. So, yeah, it might be a negative effect.
Well, see, there'll
The-
always be illegal immigrants though, and then if you
Yeah,
can
they
pay them
always be, no
less
doubt.
than the average American, I mean, why wouldn't you? Well,
Yeah,
if your company
but
has no
don't you
no
think,
morals, I
like,
guess.
for example, me, we are there in Nigeria, right? Anyway, maybe because
Hmm
I'm not there, like, I'm definitely collecting less than what an average American will collect,
hmm Yeah, of
right?
course,
I'm
you most
no
likely
benefits
will.
or nothing. But that is an advantage to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, but see, actually, yeah, that's true, but it's debatable, I guess.
That's why I said, like, for example, that the this thing where they are talking about unions that there are a lot of jobs being shipped overseas, so they want to unionize to stop that. That's going to be a negative effect on me.
Hmm
Well, I don't mean to sound harsh or anything, right? But it is in their country, so they do have more
Yeah,
rights, right?
I know, I know. I
It's like
can't fight
saying
that.
like shipping jobs, from
But
Nigeria
but
to
think about the world, bro. Come on.
well,
I agree
I mean, how,
with you, but I'm just
all right,
because if I was there too, I would want the same thing. So you
yeah.
get right? Yeah, if I
No,
was there too, I want the same thing.
Okay, actually, this reminds me. How much is the employment unemployment check in US? I'm not sure what it is.
I think it's
it's
six
14.
hundred dollars.
No,
$600.
it's fourteen
So,
hundred. Oh,
Okay, it's
sorry,
for
that's mixing
uh,
up.
uh, uh,
It's
okay,
six
so
hundred dollar. One of them.
why would somebody be okay? Well, why would the average person be okay with living off $600? Is it every week or every 2 weeks? Uh,
Oh, is it?
Like
I have no
What's
how,
idea.
what's what
how,
does $600 amount to per hour? Because they use per hour. We will use per month.
I'm not even sure. I think they just give you a check $600 an hour. And sorry.
How
Okay,
many
so I'm
hours
not
in a
sure.
week?
Okay, is it every 2 weeks or is it every week or
I
how
have.
often
I
is
think
the
it's
check
per
sent?
week.
I would imagine it should be monthly. I believe. Yeah, I believe it's
Yeah, I
monthly.
think it's monthly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
so
month. Wow. Okay,
yeah,
so that's even
right.
less then. So why would
Yeah,
somebody be okay with living that kind of lifestyle then?
yeah, six
That's a
For for
hundred.
good
the for,
question.
for the average
That is
person.
a
Oh,
good. That is a
600
good
times 4.
question.
Yeah, it's not.
That's two
It's
thousand four hundred dollars per month.
no. We said. Oh, let me search it
No,
up.
no, 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 no. Well, according to Vincent, it's supposed to be 600 per month.
It's six
Okay, six
hundred
hundred
per
per
month.
month.
Yeah, that's what they said at least. I'm not sure. I have to double check this. I have to fact check this. I'm not, I don't really know,
Yeah, even
Oh,
myself.
but that's what I've
hold
heard.
on. Hold on. Right. So, I'm looking obviously in my state. It says the unemployment is 575 a week.
A week.
Oh, a
Eh?
week. Okay, okay, that makes more sense then. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
was
that
wondering how is someone going to live off $600 a a month.
right.
But anyways, yeah, there are people like that. Like I've seen them, and they just live off the government. But then usually they have a specific situation with them. Like they might have a
Yeah, I've seen them.
disability.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy I knew, he
Yeah.
had this disability, and he's okay with getting the check. I mean, he could work, but he doesn't really want to because he just lives a simple lifestyle. He
Mm,
just stays inside, plays games, and uses money and buy what
one
he wants.
anecdotal evidence that anyways anecdotal anyway that I think one of those guys that I can't remember who said it, but like I think they said if someone gives birth, like if you're a single mother, you get more money. Exactly.
I think so actually, yeah, because
That would make sense to give a single mother more money.
Okay.
it would. But then the thing is that some women, I guess, they think that easy way in life would just to get pregnant and then use the baby
Come on, I don't.
to get money.
I don't
No,
think
no, no,
like
no. Wait, wait, wait,
reading.
wait.
Wait
So,
there,
so,
wait
so,
there.
so
Kevin, you
With
talk about
every
incentives. Talk about incentives a lot.
well,
Don't you
see,
think that
no, no.
incentivizes that kind of behavior?
It does, but it's
every
only a small percent. I won't say it's most of them. I don't think the average woman is doing that, but there are
you.
some. It's a
I
percentage that will be okay with doing that.
okay. I think that is somewhat of a mischaracterization. That is really a stretch in my opinion. Like I don't think people just get the welfare benefit is not that much. I don't think people say, okay, I'm not gonna get a kid just to get three more or four or five more $100. I have to put a kid through school. Like public education in America is not that
Yeah,
adequate.
I don't
Like
think people
it's
who would do that.
very like the,
They won't think about educating the child.
the amount of stretch people go through to justify certain stuff. I
Is it
think
really
it's
a stretch?
laughable.
Is it really a stretch? Are you sure it's a stretch?
Of course, it's a stretch. I do
Okay.
not think people like
All right.
there has been because I used to look at Fox News sometime, and what they will do is they will go around to find couple one, three people who will be on welfare, and they will try to make these people talk bad about
Yeah,
welfare
it's called
and those stuff.
anecdotal evidence. Everybody does
Yeah,
it.
that anecdotal evidence is very counterintuitive at times because, to be frank, with every government initiative, whether it be free education, free healthcare, free whatsoever, there will be free riders. People will take advantage of the program. That's why when it comes down to these policy, we have to do a cost
True.
benefit analysis. How does this
Definitely.
benefit us relative to the cost? And we cannot look at the cost and just ignore the benefit. This does affect a lot of people positively. And I don't know why we just say, okay, this person might take advantage of it, therefore it is not good. That is like rudimentary thinking.
No, no,
Okay,
okay, sorry.
okay.
That's why
This actually reminds me. Actually, on my channel, I have some Americans who can give more incentive because I don't really know like too much about this kind of things. 'Cause I don't know the details, but they would know because they live there and they look at this all the time. So
Right.
hopefully, hopefully, like hopefully soon we can do a live stream with them there so that they can give their opinions as well.
Can I ask real quick the Black Commander, right? I know it's because of the limited number of hours you have right per month, right? It's like 20
Yeah.
hours. Right. Do you know when next? Is it gonna be in June? Or
It's going to refresh by June 1st, but I'm thinking of using a different platform, like maybe StreamYards
yeah,
or some other streaming service.
okay, right. You might either you have two YouTubers or you do like how we do, right? In the British sector, right? We will do like 2-3 hours maximum. That's how we
Yeah,
space.
I'm probably going to start. Oh, yeah, I'm probably going to start implementing that because
Right, right,
one live stream was like 10 hours and I slept off and I was like, wow, you
right.
guys stayed there for 10 hours.
Exactly. Right. There's 20 hours
So,
in the version. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but conversations like this, right, particularly when it comes to, people of ADOS descent, especially, those of us that are non-ADOS, I don't think it's right to um, be saying things without at
Hmm.
least interacting with them and getting their account. Now, someone like ADOS who we had earlier on the panel, right?
Oh
Um,
man, ADOS.
look, he's not exactly. I personally, I don't think he.
Excuse me, guys. After run at the point. No,
Okay,
okay. It was really good talking to you guys. So
you,
hope
Kevin.
we can do this again sometime.
Cheers,
Of
Kevin.
course, of
I
course.
would love to. I would love to do it again.
Cheers, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, I emailed you actually, so hopefully we can keep touch. And um,
Yeah, man. I just saw your email. I just saw it.
yeah, yeah. If you can subscribe to my channel, that way you just know when I post a video or when I plan a live stream. That way we can talk sometime else.
Yeah, man. No problem. All right, guys. Take care. Good talking.
Kevin,
You as
don't
well.
forget me. Send those stuffs.
Did you email me?
Okay, I should email you. Where's your email? Okay.
It's
I
in the private chat. Can you see it?
All right, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's his email.
I'll
All
send my
right.
email right now.
Cheers,
No
Kevin. Thank you.
problem. Yeah,
Cheers,
man.
Kevin. Thank you.
But to add on to what Vincent was saying, yes, true. I guess many Black Americans just it is a bit wrong to speak about
Yeah,
their country and the issues without them being here. And also,
right.
like many of them don't take it the right way. Like they get
No,
really
you have to
yeah.
approach it right in a
So,
soft
Like
way. Like, just don't come because I know that's very typical of Nigerians, right? With their brash manner, the way they do things. That's not how they do their
I mean
cultures.
that's how we are here though in Nigeria.
ADOS
But
was not
America is
brash, no.
different.
ADOS
Well,
was brash now.
I don't
Actually,
really.
yeah, he was.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I agree with you. He wasn't brash, but I mean, granted,
What?
right? The way. Wait, sorry. Well, it's
No, I was like,
Go on, go ahead.
you said it wasn't brash, and I was like, so if he wasn't brash, then what is brash?
No, I'm not saying him. I'm saying the way the questions were presented to him. I guess
Oh,
he
okay. It felt.
he internalized it and took it the wrong way because it sounded quite insensitive. You know. But
I
but I'd
think
like to
if
add
you're going to
something.
defend your views, if you're going to defend your views, there is no need to start shouting and start calling people stupid. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
that's the thing I don't like about the guy. Like, I
no,
mean,
no, I agree
look,
that that's stuff.
yeah,
Even if my ideas are the most stupid, address the ideas. Come on. Every single point that he gave was three things: slavery, Jim Crow, redlining. History cannot be that simple. You get what I
Mm.
mean, right?
I'm seeing. Sorry, can you say that again, please?
I said every single answer to all the questions that were put to him,
Right,
Asians, blacks, wealth, how is wealth created, everything was slavery, Jim Crow, and redlining.
right.
yes. See, I agree. With
Every
ADOS, he
single
doesn't
thing.
he doesn't introspect. He just thinks everything is just slavery and blah blah blah. And then
Yo,
if you
yeah,
don't agree
yeah.
with him, and if
I
if you don't agree with him, he starts talking about Nigerians and how we're horrible and blah 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 and this that. I mean, the guy is just immature. He needs to grow up and have a civil conversation.
well, to be honest, I think the best people to ask will be the ones on your panel, the Black
Yeah,
Command.
like
And I'm not
discipline
surprised.
and
Yeah,
yeah, those guys.
I've contacted him once before. Did he get back to you today when you sent him?
He couldn't join today, but
Did he tell you that?
he did. He did. He told me he couldn't join today. He couldn't make it today.
Yeah,
But
I think
to be
yeah,
honest, I think if I host a live, I think it's more likely that we see them because my channel, for some reason, my channel is mostly Americans. I don't know, not really know why. Well,
yeah,
actually, yeah, because of that video about divestors was mostly in America, so I guess that
yeah.
makes
That's
sense.
something.
What do you do on your channel?
So I talk about pretty much everything in regards to black people and Black
Oh,
Americans, Caribbeans, this and like
No,
I plan to make videos with like like Jamaicans, for example, like the guy who was here.
okay,
What
yeah,
else?
Kevin.
T
Haitians and everything.
TBC. Every
Yeah.
single video that I've watched on your channel is mostly about divestors, black women, and just
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. But I'm
so
I'm saying this like
go on.
I plan to change my channel to be more about introspectiveness and talking about black issues. Like the divesting was because the guy sent me a Twitter account, right? And he
Right.
gave me the account on Twitter and he showed me all these
I know. You tell me.
divestment clips. And then I was just thinking, wow, I don't see anybody calling this out or talking about it, so I wanted to make a video on
Right.
it. So
Okay.
like obviously I will still make videos on that, but the main focus on the channel would be more of conversations about things that actually matter. Not really about them so much because those women are actually insane. So we should just avoid them. But basically what I'm trying to do with divesting is to make black men be aware of who they are. That way we can avoid them and just not even get in situations with them. So it
Well,
just makes your life easier.
first of all, TBC, I don't think, sorry, excuse me. People like you, well, in Nigeria, even have to ever worry about something like that, right? Because it's highly discouraged within Nigerian society. This is more of a Western issue, that black
Hmm.
men in the West will face. So,
Well, actually, I agree, but I have seen some Nigerian women go abroad and then they now adopt the same. Like, I've really seen Nigerian women's names in these divestings. Like, it would be like Chioma, something, 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 or
Yeah, yeah,
right,
that's true. I see a lot of
Blessing
Nigerian
Okabere,
women.
or this. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you just have to. I mean,
I agree.
not in Nigeria as much because I haven't run into one in Nigeria per
maybe
se.
second generation or maybe
Yeah,
second generation
maybe them,
Nigerians.
Yeah, they probably
maybe
are
them too.
more
But
than like,
okay,
I know in London, some Nigerian girls, yeah, yeah, they've gone very extremely westernized. So then,
yeah,
yeah,
like honestly, I've heard some bad things about Nigerian American women. So I don't
Nigerian
know.
American.
Nigerian what?
Like Nigerian women in America, I've heard some bad things about them.
Okay.
Like the ones who are second generation and who have been there for a while.
What are the bad
I,
things?
I've heard that they're just like American women, but they think
They had
they're
the
better than
Nigerian
everybody.
spice to it.
Yeah, yeah, but I also heard about the cheating too, the unfaithfulness. It's even higher with them apparently, and plus they spend more money as well. Like obviously we know that women in Nigeria love money, but apparently not in the
Uh,
ones in America even worse. And also they divorce like crazy. So I don't know.
I
I don't
think
know how true this
in
is,
America
but
they don't really take faithfulness as I don't know if I'm stereotyping again, but am I nobody to confirm
well,
or
well,
deny?
Go on.
I
I
think
will
they
let
don't
Vincent
really take
answer the question.
faithfulness that seriously.
I'll
Like
let
Well, are you asking about if girls here in America are more
yeah,
faithful?
yeah, girls here in America.
I've
Anyways,
not been in a relationship with one, so I can't say. But I would imagine maybe I might be wrong, so don't quote me. But when TBC goes live next, whenever that is, you can ask his views. I can speak on the
mm.
UK because I'm not American really, so it's not my
who is
expertise. But
TBT?
TBC, so the Black
Okay,
Commander in the
TBC.
Squad.
Okay. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So Vincent actually that reminds me.
yeah,
Next
sure.
few videos, like I think it'll be alternating. Like this, it'll be one video will be about like I guess issues in America, but well the divesting slash issues in America slash what's happening with Black Americans because I have Black Americans in my channel and they like those topics, so it's not
Oh,
really fair to just
I mean,
abandon them altogether.
look,
Yeah.
TBC. look, I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? The reason why you have
Mm.
those followers on your chat is because they like drama. They like to see all this. I'm just gonna call it as it is. They just want to see, you know, criticism of black women. Okay, that I've literally come to that conclusion of most of your followers on your channel. I mean,
Mm.
look, look, with all due respect, right? No, I respect
Mm-hmm.
you a lot, TBC, and I understand the reason why you do it. But your followers, I've just, you know, it was just yesterday that it just dawned on me that they're really on there just for drama. Now, if you want to talk
So,
about more logical topics of conversation, like you know, talking about economics or
Vincent,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in
what,
Africa, right?
what
You wouldn't hear from them. I guarantee you, they will just be mute. They will probably get bored because they
Vincent,
I
want.
mean, well,
what do you mean
actually,
when you
I
said
mean,
talk against black women? I don't get.
Well, you need to watch
see,
his channel, watch some of his live streams to understand. You know.
Okay.
So-
actually, in my channel, I don't talk against black women. I talk about the specific
yeah,
sector,
yeah.
like
Sorry. Yeah, I should have
the,
specified.
yeah, like, see,
What's the
I,
makeup? Is
I,
it black men or what of your followers?
They're all black
I'm,
men.
I'm not even sure,
Oh,
but the ones who get on the live stream are all black men.
Right.
So, that,
I,
that tells you
I even
something, I
got
guess.
into one. Is it a debate, a mini debate or so? With so there's this black girl on YouTube that you know all these black women that love. Let me put it like love, but like love black women first. All those type of feminist type
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
thing.
yeah. The
So the issue was Colin Kaepernick. I think
Right.
he
mhm.
posted a picture of abolish the police with and then he put a black woman on the cover
Right.
Mhm.
of the abolish the police and abolish all those things. So she was raising she was raising awareness to sign a petition that the black woman should be removed because black women don't want the police to be abolished. So it
Okay.
got to a funny discussion about black women and dark skin privilege and light skinned women and light skin privilege.
This is the rubbish they focus on. I'm telling you. Like, see, okay, so actually, I'll tell you so the main reason they focus on that is because of these women are most of them are unattractive women who blame everything on their dark skin and say that they can't get men because of their dark skin. And they blame it on black men. But they fail to realize that also white men and Asian men and all non-black men don't want them either. So it can't just be about black men. It's also
I
about
even did
them
a quick
themselves.
survey. I asked people around dark skin or light skin. Although there's some people that have preferences, but most people are just like as long as she's attractive. That's why it's always
Hmm.
very very strange for me when they bring up this dark skin privilege. Like if you're attractive, it's more or less like attractive privilege more than dark skin. But I could be wrong, Sha, but that's just my view. What do you think, Vincent?
The colorism thing. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm breaking off, but the colorism thing is actually true. But the way they only talk about it in terms of dating preferences is just ridiculous. Like how can you focus on
Okay.
only dating and ignore the colorism other aspects like job markets or prison
Oh yeah.
sentencing or the justice system or even like getting loans for houses, things like that. It's not focused on those issues that are actually real. They focus on, oh, XYZ prefers light skinned women or stupid things like that. It's just, I mean,
Well, I mean,
it,
they could all
it, it,
be wrapped in the same. For example, if a black guy is more likely to date a light skinned girl, he might be more likely to afford some economic opportunities.
I mean, true, but the problem is that these women don't like black men. Well, the way they talk about us, they talk about us being apes and we're bullet back and things like that. So I'm confused as to why they care about men that they hate. And also, like again, it's just they act like female incels. Honestly, when you relate everything into desirability, politics, and dating, and one last thing is that there are actually a whole bunch of them like that most people don't even realize. And if you go on social media, you see like even just Twitter, like scrolling just to Twitter in general, you see so much, I guess, anti-black male rhetoric from black women,
Yeah,
even
I
in South,
see a
South
lot of anti-black male rhetoric. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
There's more anti-black
even
male
if
than anti-black women. Far
mhm,
more, like
way
100 to
way
1.
more.
Say,
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
don't see anti-black women, to be honest.
as
yeah.
I don't.
much.
But
What,
Like
Vincent?
see,
oh, did you say something?
I didn't hear what Vincent said.
No, I said I don't really see much, and in fact, I don't. I barely
Like, I
see.
don't see any at all. Exactly.
Like,
well, see, like that's the thing. If a black man goes and says something about black women, people jump on him and the guy gets flagged
Yeah.
right away. But if a black woman does it, no one even says anything. So it's not a big
well,
deal. Like,
that's the female privilege, isn't it?
well, I mean, see, I think it's also black men's fault because we also ignore it too. Like, I was that way as well. Like, I didn't say anything before. I was like, it doesn't even matter. Then I started seeing it more and more. Then I started seeing like even 14-year-olds talking about lynching black men. And I was like, okay, this is actually becoming a concern now.
Well, let's be honest. At the end of the day, who's going to be the one losing? Is it going to be black men or black women? I mean, we have to also take that.
Black women.
Well, look. We will talk about this more so on your channel, TVC. 'Cause I don't know if I don't want to cut too much into. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm so sorry. 'Cause I thought Charles was on the panel. I don't want to wait, but yeah, Karen.
Well, actually, the reason I brought this up was because of the Americans aren't really here, so it's a bit,
Yeah, I know, but I'm
it's a
just
bit.
telling you, yeah, those guys, they're pretty much looking for drama because I'm sure you've noticed, right? I tend to butt heads a lot with them, right? Have you
Yeah,
noticed that?
I have.
Like,
Wait,
have you?
actually, I have a question for you, Vincent.
Yeah, go on.
To be honest, I don't really pay attention to my channel or the graphics or the I, I guess I said the demographics that watch me. So,
Right.
is there any problems with you and the people on the channel that you want to talk about, or is it like
Uh,
is there anything you've noticed? Like,
wait.
wait. By the way,
Yeah, go
feel
on.
free to be blunt and just get straight to like you can say what you want. I don't really mind.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have like a private call with you on Zoom or something if you want. Maybe some others. I don't really feel comfortable saying it on YouTube, right?
Okay. Actually, you
I
can
can,
email me and I can talk to you on a private
yeah,
like
yeah,
StreamYard
sure.
link or something.
Look, they're lovely people, don't get me wrong, but I've just come to the realization that I don't have much in common with them. I mean, um, I'm pretty sure you have noticed, right? This last, especially these last couple live streams, right? And you said it yourself that I don't even see eye to eye with them on many things. In fact, to be honest, we were like that's how different we are. You know, even though I'm living here in the US, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
get a lot. Like, I mean, I don't see eye to eye with a lot of blacks here in America. Again, like I said, I'm more British oriented, and that's the reason why
What's the
Catherine.
difference between what's the difference between black British, black Americans, and black Africans?
Well, I don't
Like,
know about the
what's
Black
what?
African part. I could just tell you about the Western Hemisphere, right? Um,
Okay.
just our cultures is very different. Like I'm just saying, just our way of thinking. You know, when you actually get here and you actually start living here and you start interacting with, you just realize how different you are from them. That's all I can say. And you know, I do have to also kind of apologize because I've realized that at times I could be a bit too harsh with them and just dismiss them, and I didn't realize I was doing that. So next time you have your live stream TVC, I will make an apology because I've realized that I was kind of wrong a few times. I just realized it's just difference of opinion. So, but if you don't mind me asking though, why are you asking me this question? Why have they said the same thing as well? Oh,
Well, um,
they have over there.
I'm okay. I'm trying to think about it. I'm not sure if it. Well, I have noticed like there's a difference. There is some unspoken animosity between you and some of the guys on the panel. So I was kind of wondering, did anything happen? Like I was wondering if anything happened behind the scenes or when I wasn't there because at times I do like leave the live
I
stream.
literally, I did not even know Like, I was really beginning to think, like, wow, so no one else can know. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of glad that at least you noticed that. I know, like, there's been what like built like rising tension, right? Like a rising.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Oh, I know. Trust me, I'm very aware of that. But I just put it. I just shove it under the carpet. I'm not speaking about. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm very aware of it. I know. I'll
Okay,
tell you another thing, but I'm not gonna say it on YouTube. But yeah,
okay. Well, the private chat is available, and also you can also just call.
yeah,
Oh,
sure.
we can like you can email me and we can schedule like a private
Yeah, sure, sure.
call. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
but like on my channel, I'm going to make the space available for anybody who wants to
Of
speak as
course.
long as they're respectful on the panel. Now, if someone goes there and starts, cursing, swearing at you or cursing you out or stuff
Stupid.
like that,
You're
I'll kick them
stupid.
off. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's going to be free speech. That's pretty much what my channel is about, like free speech. Even if it's offensive, say what you want to say.
Mm. Sounds like a
Okay.
deal. Yep. Sounds good. But yeah.
One noticeable thing I notice is in Black Americans is they get offended a lot.
No, it's not.
Like,
It's not a Black American thing. It's just an American thing in general. That's
oh
Yeah,
my
it's
god,
American in general.
It's no. This is not
ah,
specific to them. No, it's not. It's not
it's an
black. No.
American thing, right?
It's an American thing. They also
Oh my
white
god.
Americans as well. It doesn't matter. Even my
Yeah,
cousins as
yeah.
well, who are also fellow
Oh,
Nigerians. Right? Yeah.
oh,
It's just an American cultural thing. But yeah.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Vincent, I apologize for cutting you off, but yeah, it's true.
Okay. Don't worry.
That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the first things I noticed when I came to America was people got like even just the West in general. People got offended so easily. It was just like wow. Like you be joking around with them, and then they will actually get like angry, you know, or sad
That's.
or whatever.
I mean, it is what it is, right? That's just.
But it's just the difference in culture than us.
Yeah, I know, I know. That's why I'm
yeah,
saying, right? It's I think it's a cultural misunderstanding that I have with some of your followers. Yeah, on your channel, I've actually just realized that that's one of the reasons why I tend to butt heads with them because it's the same thing as well in my college as well. I have the same issue as well, so it's not just them in particular. But yeah, but yeah, I'll be on the lookout for your next live. So yeah, that's thing. I think when it comes to certain things to do with American issue, I'm just gonna just be kind of keeping quiet because I don't want to have that. I don't do all this animosity or this childish thing going back and forth. I don't do that because, like you said, right, you've noticed that that there's quite a lot of tension now. Yeah,
Yeah. So okay. So um, you know what? Actually, I would adopt that same mindset. Like I would stay back from American issues. However, if somebody
No, Charles. No, sorry, I'm not Charles. TBC, right? Don't do it because of me, right? You do you. Like, continue doing what you're doing. I'm just saying, me in particular, I'm not going to do it because I've just realized that, some members of your, your channel are just, I can kind of tell, but I'll be more upfront with you on private, when we talk outside, yeah. But as for me in particular, but you continue doing that, like. I see you as doing the good work, right? You're just exposing, you know, a lot of
Mhm.
these witches and what they're doing, and the
well,
false narrative.
well,
But yeah,
actually, like,
you're gone.
actually, in general, I'm actually losing interest on, I guess, the American issues per se, because I mean, they already have a bunch of channels dedicated to that already. So I was more so actually like, I was more so looking to have a channel about facts and free speech, and then connects people.
Yeah,
Like, so
sure.
if you're yeah, so it was mostly like, so we can have intellectual debates and intellectual topics, and we can talk about things
Right.
on my channel. Now, it did deviate into this like divesting because I saw so many channels and on Twitter and everything like with this divesting. So I wanted to give my opinions on that.
what
But
is divesting?
you know what? Actually, I'm doing a whole live stream on that soon, so you can join and see for yourself.
There's one divested femininity there. I've heard of that one before. Divested femininity or something. Like What does divesting mean?
My brother, the divesting is supposed to be them
Look, you
divesting from
should come
black
on
men.
to
So
TBC's come on to
yeah.
TBC's thing, and he'll give you the whole breakdown of it.
Okay.
This fellow,
Actually,
this
you know what? I think I'm going to do that after KB's live stream or something. No, like the next day after that, so I can, like, I'll make a new account on StreamYard and see if I can connect it to um
when are you free for the private call, TBC?
uh Sunday and Saturday afternoon. I think I'm free.
Oh, okay, right. So, okay, gotcha. All right, yeah. I'll give you I'm gonna call it.
Actually, I'm free tomorrow also after 3 p.m. Nigerian time. So that's like
Send
what?
me an email. Send me an email, yeah, and I'll get in touch with you. So
Okay, guys, I have to leave. I have exams tomorrow.
sure,
Oh
all right, yeah.
yeah, you have the exam. Down. Okay. For which course or which class?
Engineering law.
Engineering law. Okay. Good luck. Good luck in your
Yeah,
exam.
thanks, bro. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Take
We'll catch up sometime else.
yeah. Oh yeah. Did you want to just do a quick Zoom call? I can send you a link right now if you wanted to, or do you? Uh,
Zoom call. I don't I don't know my Zoom account actually. That's something I
you know? Okay, yeah.
have
Don't
to
worry.
find.
Yeah, don't worry.
Uh,
We'll set up another date then. But yeah, yeah. Do you
well,
have full control of this live stream or what?
I don't think so. I haven't checked. I haven't tried.
I don't know how. But yeah.
Wait, Vincent,
Yeah, go on.
do you have an account on StreamYard?
No, I don't know. I've never used StreamYard. Nah.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I can email you and we can figure out this is a very simple way you can talk.
Sure.
Um, shouldn't be that difficult. We can even use like Gmail. I think there's a way you can
Okay. No
talk on
problem.
there.
Sure. Yeah, just send me an email and then I'll
Yeah,
but yeah, I just want to ask the question, right? Why do you bring that up? When you asked me that question at first, why? And you can be very honest, right? What did they bring it up? They did, didn't they?
mm, not explicitly, but you can tell in the way both of you got like the way the animosity in in the panel and even in the chat. I think there were some disagreements that were a bit more than disagreements. It was more so like it was something deeper than that. And I've noticed it for a while, but I didn't really say anything because I just kind of ignored it. And um, yeah, so I mean, hopefully everything is fine, but I guess I'll be filled in more on the call. So when we
Yeah.
talk,
I'll tell you. At least from my side of things, but I've figured out why it is. I've actually because yesterday I was I don't know like it just the whole thing just dawned on me and I realized why there is this amount of animosity and I think I know why it is.
mm,
But I don't want to say it on here because trust me, that's just probably gonna get some people in their feelings. So I know exactly the reason why. So and I'll tell you, I'll give you the full breakdown so you can see it. But yeah,
actually, we can call like right now after this. I can see what I
sure,
can do, and we can actually talk right
definitely,
now. But
yeah, sure.
also, yeah. So back to your original topic, I don't think it's now. It's a bit odd for Nigerians to keep speaking on Americans. It kind of beats to the stereotype
Yeah,
that.
I want to say more on this topic as well. But I really
Mhm.
just don't say it on here because it's gonna give
You
some
know,
people.
people get too emotional, way too emotional on YouTube. Yeah.
Right. It's gonna give some people ammunition. So I'll tell you off stream. I'll just be very raw with you off stream. I'm not gonna say it on YouTube because I actually do censor myself a lot. Trust me. There's some things I really just want to say, but I don't want to. Because I've kind of learned how to handle certain people, right, and how to
Mhm.
go. But yeah,
Well, I mean, I guess that defeats the goal of the channel, but I guess it is what you have to do to avoid problems. I presume
right.
because I mean, I've noticed this about people on YouTube. They just get too. like way too emotional, way
Yeah,
too invested in this thing. It's like,
just in general, just like the red pill space, right?
hmm
You know, the manosphere, they take things extreme. If you don't do things a
yeah,
certain way, you'll know. Because I was in the manosphere section just yesterday and even today earlier, and just some of the things that a lot of the guys say, right? It's just, oh, I don't know. It's just, I guess that's just
hmm
their view on masculinity. But yeah, I'll tell you more. Like, just let like let let me know when you're ready for the call, and I'll disclose to you everything. Yeah. So
Okay, I should be ready in like 10 minutes, but I'll email you just so you know exactly.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, just whenever you're ready. But yeah.
All right, we should probably end the stream now,
Yeah,
shouldn't
sure,
we?
definitely. Yeah, because I don't want to waste Charles's because I know on the
Um,
base plan is what, like 20 hours. So yeah, but yeah, just like I said earlier, right? Just do as how we do in the British sector, right? We'll do like I'm
mhm,
sure you've noticed, right, that they will do like 3 hours maximum, or it's like the absolute max is usually on Friday night, it's like 4 hours, and then that's it. And they'll do
mhm,
it like once or twice a week. They'll have a live stream. So
mhm,
yeah, they too are also using free version as well. So since you're using the free one, that's what I would do if I were you, the Black Commander, because
mhm.
I was gonna say something again. I don't like. Yeah, I really wanted to say something, but I just don't want because if some people listen to this replay, yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I'll just tell you right whenever you're ready for the call,
Okay,
I'll tell you about it.
yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure,
just
for sure.
try and limit it to like 3 hours though, because there were some times where I'm looking and we've been talking for 7, 8, 9 hours, and I'm just like, this is one of the reasons why people don't really, maybe come because it's
Watch
like
the
it's just too
videos.
long to watch. Right? If it's like 2, three
Yeah.
hours, that's more 2, 3 hours. It flies quickly, but 9 hours, I have done that before, but it takes up like half the day. No one has time
hmm
for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, I've noticed like even in like
Mhm.
I don't really care about my view count as much, but I posted a video that was short, like a short video. It
Right.
was only 3 minutes, and I got 1,700 views.
Well,
But
there you go.
my
You see.
lot,
Yeah. So
yeah,
exactly the
but the yeah, but the live streams get around 100 views or so. So you can see
right,
a huge difference
exactly.
in terms of view count alone.
There you go. Right.
Because,
That's how to work it. That's how to make it more, you know, to
well,
have
yeah,
to,
because
right.
yeah, of course, like nobody wants to watch a 7 hour live stream or
Yeah,
5 hour
exactly. Yeah,
live
exactly.
stream.
And it's just a lot
Yeah,
of
it's just way
rambling.
too long.
Right. And people are just mainly just rambling, if we're being honest. It's just, you know,
True,
yeah, it's not
true.
really, yeah. So, yeah. Whenever you're ready, just shoot me an email and I'll just be waiting and yeah. Do you want to do it
Okay.
in Zoom or where?
I haven't used Zoom in a while, but actually, I did use Zoom for school. I guess I'll do it on Zoom.
No,
Well,
sure.
I'll email you on whatever we decide on using for the
No
call.
problem. No problem.
And
All right.
also, yeah, and also I would adopt your new style. Like, I guess we'll put a 3 hour and 30 minute limit to every live
Right.
stream,
Yeah, and then if people are just talking, just say, okay, guys, I would like to wrap up now. That's how they do on other channels, right? Because you are the
like
host, right?
5 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you do know how to wrap it up. You have said, okay, in 5 minutes when you want to end. So
hmm
yeah, and don't
Yeah.
allow us to take it. No, don't do that. Just say, okay, guys, maybe for the next live stream, and maybe do it like twice a week if you want. So that's 6 hours. Yeah, that's fine. No, that you know. That's
hmm
more healthy as well. So, all
But
right,
actually, yeah, of
go.
course. So, no. That's all. I just wanted to wrap up the stream.
Yeah, sure.
This one
Yeah,
here. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Critical African Thinkers, and subscribe to Charles. Um, yeah, good channel for debate and just talking on intriguing topics, I guess.
yeah. Cheers,
And
everyone.
yes, yeah. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, like the video, subscribe, comment your opinions below. And with that, we're out.